gonna teach you some tricks, bitch. Get out there, catch that data, stack my chips, bitch.
Get the gas mask, with the gas mask. Welcome to the Cousin C Show. Now sit your ass the fuck down and shut the fuck up. Get the gas mask, with the gas mask. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Lucky my army is everlasting.
Ferocious, I brag the mostest, cause I spit it hotter than toasters. Check my name out on all the posters. When I hit the stage, drinks hit the coasters. Women pack it away to the third row. We ain't in the strip club, we call it purr bro. I don't know what you heard, ho. I'ma tell you straight, baby, I'm a surf pro. Running game like a pimp, bitch. Yeah, I'm running game with a limp, bitch. The big dog gonna teach you some tricks, bitch. Get out there, catch that data, stack my chips, bitch.
Get the gas mask, with the gas mask.
Watching
rappers,
with the 40,
you went last week,
smoking like a bogey.
Monkey music's everlasting.
In the future, track bruisers. Cut the beat in the back of the cruiser. Fuck the game up, Karma Sutra. In my Land Rover, I will run right through ya. Growl on the mic like a beast should. Go hard on the beat, think Clint Eastwood. Walk on water, everybody knew he would. Written in the scriptures, scholars knew he could. On my own, Julius Caesar. Take away my world, I only need her. But you coming, only wanna be heard. The phoenix shall rise upon my return. Get the gas mask when we spark that.
How much was it?
I think we barked
The
that.
gas mask, with the gas mask. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be my army, it's everlasting. The gas mask, with the gas mask. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be my army, it's everlasting.
I go Coco, so loco. Whoop, whoop, no Coco. Ya don't know, I'm so pro. Go so slow in a low low. Twisting like Toto. Oh no, throwing game like Tony Romo. Even the G's love me, no homo. With the crew, that's a no-no. I'm hydro when I flow. When I flow, it's tidal. Surf the beat, watch my roll. Grab the mic, kick hard like Tybo.
Gas mask, with the gas mask. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be my army, it's everlasting. The gas mask, with the gas mask. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be my army, it's everlasting.
Oh shit, don't stop, don't stop. Shit, that was the end of the fucking list. Let me just stop dead. Oh, you fucking get out of here, man. Son of a bitch. Alright, I can fix this. It'd be a pain in my fucking ass.
What's wrong with him? Listen. I walk with a flame like Flocka, the cockback proper. One shot to have you niggas screaming like the opera. It's black like Oprah, straight King Cobra. Top left over your heart, shoots through shoulders. It burns like second degree, but who's stepping to me? Please free, right hand when I ejected out 3. Rich niggas move calm and collected. That chain ain't shit unless your palm can protect it.
My palm can protect mine. Empty up the Tech 9. I don't give a fuck about jail. I'll do dead time.
find your body in the building.
Cause we killed you.
Like who's realer?
Got tools like Bob the Builder.
All I really wanted was a gun and a vest. Like
Who's next to get shot in my complex?
And I'm straight stressed. Rob money when time's less. I'll take a nigga's best, I'll leave a nigga timeless. I grew up with no motivation. Drive right past the cops and investigations. Pump with no registration. Pull me over like sir, we arresting you. Shotgun, stolen car, and cash up the register. You say tomato, well I say tomato. Western Toronto, squirt heat like volcanoes. I must confess, my life ain't picture perfect. Was on top, got knocked, now fucking hurting. All I got left is pride and my dignity. And a finger in the middle if you ain't digging me. My family matters, the big guy, car Winslow. Minus the badge with big straps, blast windows. Stay cool like the other side of the pillow. I serve shots like the fox on the fucking pillow. Don't know your name, so you better take it slow, dog. Yo, MCA, where the fuck's can't know, dog? You little beggars better run up, cause I won't stop till the zipper on my body bag is done up. Heard you got drugs, then Jeezy's gon' pick up. Roll up with his lip up, big pump, this a stick up. 7-5 block, bust shots, you'll get lit up. Beat backs like a hip up, burn laps like a sit up, nigga.
I got them all in reverse order.
You hear that? You smell that? Watch your mouth. Watch your motherfucking mouth. Yeah, bitch, you heard. That's what I said. Watch your motherfucking mouth. Cause I know what you about. You see it well out, but don't do a thing to back about. I'm sick of other doubts surrounding me. I'm a roast and these bitch ass ass, no class, but I'm not you about to be the fucking ghost. Let's do it to the 6 hits.
You about to be the fucking ghost.
But Mac, you about to be on your lips. Don't think I'll forget, you'll never put me on. Y'all only wanna take it with me. Once I started getting know, now y'all wanna be friends. What the fuck you act up? When I could've paid my rent when I was a rep with a clip with a ram in my bed. Watch your mouth.
Watch your motherfucking mouth.
Yeah, bitch, you heard. That's what I said. Watch your mouth. Watch your motherfucking mouth. Say good, I play nice, you wanna have this case. Watch your motherfucking mouth. Cause I know what you about. And I'm cutting the loose ends, cutting the loose threads. You done yet? This is your nuisance. Ready for your crew, bitch. Where we all at though? When I was a man, sipping a little excessive, losing myself in the lake. Didn't think I bounced back. But bitch, you know that it did y'all told me. Now I'ma prove y'all wrong undoubtedly. I'm gonna be a legend by the time I go to sleep. When I'm 6 feet deep, my name will keep its legacy. Yeah, bitch, I'ma make my history. Watch your mouth. Watch your motherfucking mouth. Yeah, bitch, you heard. That's what I said. Watch your mouth. Watch your motherfucking mouth. They good, I play nice, you wanna try this case. What you got to prove? You think you make a move, but I ain't see you once you pay your dues. Like if I snooze on your tracks, could've stayed a second glance. First time around, Lex. I'm speaking facts, not talking tracks. I got the assets. Only thing you got is an ass, and I'm about to leave it plus to fast like a dick in a nutsack. Bitch, I'ma make you trust that your existence. Blink once and miss it. Split second grip this flinch and twist. Yeah. Go get fisted, bitch. Yeah. Watch your mouth. Watch your motherfucking mouth. Yeah, bitch, you heard. That's what I said. Watch your mouth. Watch your motherfucking mouth. Ain't get up, say nice, you wanna have this case. Watch your mouth. 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 Yeah. Watch your mouth. 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 Yeah.
No, no, no.
Hey, Tino, folks, man, it's easy on the mic with you now, man. Straight T Holly.
Feel the energy. Feel the energy. Rockers. Feel the energy. It's the prophecy. One shot hip hop. Let your body rock. And we won't stop. Let your body rock. And we won't stop. Let your body rock. Feel the energy. It's a prophecy. One shot hip hop. Get your body rock. And I won't stop. Get your body rock. Wake up early morning, yawning, grinding, regular life's boring, going all in, get your money, so stay strong, turning to believers, good achievers in the studio, going low ball for the radio, living is spiritual, not untouchable, my sounds unforgettable, feel like all incredible, needles for my back, causing a stack, opening for big names, getting paid, on a company, turn dreams to reality, streets filthy, still in it, no way out, smoke loud, calm my nerves, medical terms, musical germs, rappers full of germs, spray with pesticide, lyrical suicide is an exercise. Well it on live, come for a ride, don't dive, stay fly, be tough, not from the same cloth. I'm Jackson with Tito, your G Money, I'm Nino, a street veteran, underground's best, like KRS. Even though I'm blessed with stress, no rest for the week that I hate being lyrical. Don't care if lyrical, if the product is selling, if they're a miracle. You use it like equity, manipulating your energy. That's your legacy, protected with your life, like they did Christ. Make it right, sell it at the right price. Teach educate the opposite, then mimic. Feel the energy, it's a prophecy. One shot hip hop, let your body rock, and we won't stop. Let your body rock, and we won't quit. Yeah! Feel the energy, it's the prophecy. One shot hip hop, let your body rock, and we won't stop. Let your body rock, 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 rock. Feel the energy, it's a prophecy. One shot hip hop, let your body rock, 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 and we won't stop. No, and we won't quit. Yeah, it's the prophecy. Feel the energy. One shot hip hop. Let your body rock, 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 and we won't stop. Rock, rock, and we won't quit, 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 and we won't stop, 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 and we won't quit. Feel the energy, it's the prophecy. One shot hip hop, feel your body rock, 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 and you won't stop, 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 and you won't quit, quit, quit. Toronto, Rapto that records. JustRealRecords.com. So boy, DC, Atlantic City Code, on worldwide, New York City, 2017.
Hey. Batman, 20 shoes on the back. Hey. Righteous Batman, 2019. Young Lee niggas like that shit. Now you know it could be. Or Lil Diamond. Hey. YG back on the track, so I crack shit, slaps on the stack. Niggas don't love you, that's a fact.
Niggas don't love you, that's a fact.
Niggas see me and freeze, shorty no shit, he's got strapped to the slap.
Niggas see me and freeze.
Put him in a box, go jack, roll one deep, never need a pack. Hey.
Niggas
All
know me
one
from
need.
one to the south.
Never need a
Never
pack.
need no one. Make my own club. Southside, reach apart. Nigga, that's my road. Niggas selling drugs, man. I'm in a drove. They all know what I'm about. Stuck in bread, talk shit, catch lead to the head. Off the shits, no meds. What the fuck? I'm red. Stay away from the feds. On the streets, no bed. Hey, deep water, I drink. I'll smoke, no slip. I'll swamp me dead. This day I dread. Bitch gave me head. See my strap, they fled. Hey, I know they said I don't be shit when I was in the ditch. No pussy, I'm rich. They low, don't switch. They solid one bitch. See the flick of the wrist. I'm on some shit. Talk shit, get hit. Big punk, I'm in it. I keep my stick. I let it flick just like a dick. I'm in his house like old Saint Nick. She want my dick. She know I'm sick. I ain't it. Crip that crack. I nip. I hit his lip. If he talking shit, fuck his click and fuck his gang. I'll hit the three just like I'm dang. She wanna kang that booty I bang. If he owe my gang, them hollows stang. My shorties pang. She loves when I sang. She feels the pain. I'm in the rain. Hit a stain if it means getting paid. And this my click. You getting laid. I'm in the trap. The cops did a raid. I got that work. You know it's a grade. Just that, man, you know we rockin', man, wire in DC, Woodbine, Pete, man, you know we rockin', got that whole strip locked down, cuz, hey. Hit him with a slug, gon' make him move slow, you know me, I'm all about my dough, gotta make sure my boys gon' flow, they love my beat, they rate my flow, my neck is cold, it's 0 below, big wrist gon' shoot, you know I drove, I keep my heat, I ain't talking about a stove, I'm gonna trap some food, no fresh code, that nigga wants beef, my strap gon' blow, every time I drop a truck, my cloak gon' grow, made sure he told me, don't love a hoe, I should've known that she was right, because of that, we really tight, I'll bust my strap if she won't fight, hoodie on, I'll ride at night, I'll show my might, never flight, 40 with the demon, he inciting, I ain't missing, I ain't slipping, never tripping, coke I'm whipping, check my waist, I'm really dripping, packs I'm flipping, niggas talking, niggas snitching, trigger finger really itch for fake, niggas that want me dead, 9 on me, a 2 in the head, these niggas run to God like Ned, check my flag, it's really red, married to the game, not newlywed, niggas watch my every move, they just wanna see.
After announcing today the sale of its rail operations to Alstom of France. This deal, worth $8.2 billion, follows Bombardier's sale last week.
It's fucking liar. They announced it yesterday. I didn't read it because I didn't think it was important, but they announced it at least yesterday.
It helps whittle down a massive debt load that Bombardier has accumulated over several years, but with the company shrinking and effectively selling 2/3 of its mainline businesses just in the past week, it will primarily be a business jet company, much smaller than what it used to be. Once the deal is
sold the
approved,
Q400. You still make Skidoos.
As the majority stakeholder,
you sell $30,000 Skidoo. You shouldn't have a problem,
will be the
right?
largest single shareholder in Alstom of France. So effectively, having major control over what the company does with its Canadian operations.
Remember, euros to Canadian
Another big
dollars.
shakeup in the retail
Something like a third of the transaction is stock certificate.
Teetering on the brink.
They still value it in U.S. dollars.
Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the United States.
1.7 billion.
Close all of its North American operations. There's more than 400 locations in Canada and the U.S. The Fort Worth, Texas-based company has been struggling with increased competition from companies such as online retailers Wayfair and Amazon. The company is effectively putting itself up for sale, gives itself about a month for other retailers or buyout partners to submit bids. Otherwise, it is doors closing at Pier 1. And we've got Apple in the spotlight.
Wow,
it's early Tuesday after the company warned that its first quarter sales will be effectively hit by the coronavirus in China, as many of Apple's suppliers and its retail operations in that country have been slowed dramatically by the spread of the coronavirus.
Customers are in China.
Traffic reports every 10 minutes on the walks.
Traffic alerts at once. This
is 680 News.
Thanks for calling Reliance Home Comfort. It's Jeff. How can I help you?
Hi, my first stop.
We got nothing for the next 6 minutes.
Life we've been through it. I like to introduce my crew. They didn't know we do it. Yeah, you already know who it is. It's your boy, Playboy Bandito. Rockin' my man Tycho here in Vintage Vault. Maxim FM Hip Hop Radio. Holla at your boy, 90 Nickel Money Talks. Yeah. Some real swerve shit right here, you know what I mean, my nigga?
Gotta eat.
Dino. Money talk. Not no man. You gotta eat. Street life. Yeah. Playboy Bandito, bitches know my stilo. The ladies mad with a Negro, big like you ain't even know. Making bread, you needin' dough. If you can't trap, then you need a hoe. Wasting time getting drunk and high, y'all need to leave that weed alone. Ball up, weed alone. You can smell my weed cologne. Trying to find a style like mine is, you gon' need a clone. My nigga, the streets is mine. I don't need a bone. I don't need a label to sign me for me to blow. I already know that my vibe is unbelievable. Too strong to deny that it's about time for me to go. Lay back when I'm chill, gotta face the ladies feel. It made it through the 80s and look like a baby still. It's the streets that made me, and your shit's crazy still. But still I like to party like I just got a deal. Money talks is the movement, street life we've been through it. I like to introduce my crew, and all we do is yeah. You gotta eat. Yeah. You gotta eat. Woo. Yeah. You gotta eat. Yeah. You gotta eat.
1969.
Man, I'm sick and tired of these lame assholes. Trying to get up in the game, asshole. Thinking you in my lane. About that game, just with a couple lame assholes. Put a real nigga in a Maserati. Matter of fact, just pay on. Stop running around popping mollies. Stop running around popping pictures. Instagram's getting rich and they ain't gonna take you with them. Why you wanna be a victim? You don't really need attention, but you just wanna see permission. You ain't gonna beat resistance. It's only one way to win, and they gotta stay persistent. All I do is eat, flip, crack, fuck, hoes, get money. All I ever do is eat, flip, crack, fuck, hoes, get money. And the word around town, everybody been saying, I got money. You need money. Cause I throw money. And I blow money. This right here, old money. Not new money. This shit some blow money. This shit some hard money. Yeah.
That is fucking confused myself what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah. Got it.
That's not funny. American pennies.
Yeah, you already know what it is, man. It's your homie AP about paper, D-Block, BDS, Cinco. You already know what it is. Right now, I'm rocking out with my nigga M1, a.k.a. Moolah, man. Boy got bars, man. Young nigga, too, man. 17 years old. Getting it in, getting it real. He got bars, man. That's all I'm going to say, man. You already know, man. If I co-sign this shit, I co-sign his bars, you know what I'm saying? So I can tell y'all, man. My nigga got bars, man. If you want to see if you're a real nigga now, man, run up on him, man. He'll let you know you're YO to T-Dot, man. That's how we getting it down, man. Shout out to my nigga DJ Diggs, my nigga DJ Opie, man. Let's get him.
DJ Opie.
I ain't lying, throat infection, bronchitis. I'm sick, I need medicine. Veteran, I'm too skilled for Benylin. Better than any Canadian citizen. I'm one, my description on.
You can laugh, and this is all for the church. You can laugh, it's nothing, but I'm giving it to the church anyway.
35 blue steel, and making this up. Bigger guns, hitting run, this is fun. I'm on my G-tip, that's why I smoke. Old folks, when nice ladies think mad coke, fix them up all the time, even when they try to lose clothes.
You hear the voice, now paper back on this shit again. 5'5", nigga, a threat to any citizen.
Okay, let's hear the bullshit they got for us.
City News reporter Faiza Amin spoke to one road user who posted to social media.
You can read that one. But what the
While seated in a parking lot one night a few days ago, Angela Valdez takes this video of two vehicles side by side. One had the old license plates, the other had the newer ones that she says were barely visible.
When you're within a certain distance, you can't see it. Like, even when you're right in front of the car behind it, you can't read the license plate.
A government spokesperson said they spoke with a number of stakeholders, including law enforcement partners, to test out, among other things, the readability of the plate design. Part of the statement reads, quote, Ontario's new high-definition license plates were tested using advanced plate reader technology under multiple visibility conditions.
That helps with the human eye.
Plates were successfully read under those conditions.
That's because the computer can't tell the difference between light and dark until you tell it to.
Of the new plates.
6 City News Time, 11:05.
They say a place to grow, a place to grow.
Serious and potentially life-threatening injuries after a 4-vehicle crash in Etobicoke. It happened near Kipling and Lakeshore Boulevard. Toronto police say one of the victims was a pedestrian, the other a driver.
6 City News Time, 11:05. According to the country's health minister, closing down Canada's borders with China is not the way to deal with COVID-19.
We don't have
6
borders
City's
with
Lasha
China.
Kretzel reports the minister says it would actually make a tough health situation even worse.
Patty Haidu says
It's
even
also too
if
late.
Canada stopped all travel to and from China, people could find alternative routes and lie about where they've been, making it even harder to screen people coming in.
The long-term implications of shutting down borders is, one, they're not very effective in controlling disease. As in fact, they're not effective at all. And secondly, they actually long-term can create a greater risk to global public health.
That's because the threat of closing borders and trade could dissuade other countries from reporting public health emergencies in the first place. But the Public Health Agency of Canada is reviewing its COVID-19 safety procedures after nurses' unions criticized them. I'm Lasha Kretzel.
Meantime, almost 1,800 people have died from COVID-19 in China, but there's some good news. The director of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Adhanom, is hoping coronavirus cases have peaked in China.
The data also appear to show a decline in new cases. This trend must be interpreted very cautiously. Trends can change as new populations are
Remember Monday and Tuesday they said the numbers were down.
Could stay down.
Thursday and Friday they said they were way up.
Opportunity now. We need resources now to ensure countries are prepared now.
I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
This is 680 News at 11:06. Thousands of land defenders and their allies made their ways to Queen's Park this afternoon. 680's Michelle Mackey reports on the demonstrations.
Traffic on Bloor was brought to a halt as demonstrators marched from Christie Pitts to Queen's Park. They're fighting the Coastal GasLink pipeline set to run through Wet'suwet'en territory in northern BC.
Wet'suwet'en.
This comes as anti-pipeline protesters across the country
like
shut down a large
Macken's.
portion of Canada's rail network with blockades. Audrey is here to stand in solidarity with the Wet'suwet'en.
Actually hear a lot of passengers, a lot of folks who've been inconvenienced, quite willing to put up with this inconvenience because they also understand that those people are land protectors and they need our
because they don't support the government spending $40 billion on nothing.
And wanted to come with her mom.
The Wet'suwet'en people are not being treated the way that they are supposed to be treated.
At Christie Pitts Park, I'm Michelle Mackey.
Meantime, our federal government still hasn't unveiled its plans to deal with ongoing rail blockades.
Okay, so
An emergency
the
meeting with
LNG
cabinet
plant
ministers to
stupid.
discuss anti-pipeline blockades has
Well,
ended.
you think you're going to
with
make back money on
participants
$40 billion?
staying
I'll
mum about
wreck
what
you
they've
$40
decided.
billion. That's only 2 years of the weed
Chiefs are
business, bro. You know how much
protesting a planned
cocaine
natural
that's in?
gas
That's about a
pipeline
month
that
of
crosses
cocaine business. You
Wet'suwet'en
really want to fuck around,
territory in
Mr.
northern
Drama
British
Teacher?
Columbia. Sympathy blockades of rail lines across the country have shut down train traffic for about 2 weeks.
Everybody's going to be
Trudeau
hungry.
canceled
They're
a
going to be
planned
nothing
two-day
but
trip
crack
to
and speed for
Barbados,
sale.
where he was going to meet with Caribbean leaders to campaign for a seat on the United Nations
We don't
Security Council.
have
From the
food and
Canadian
water
Press,
and
I'm
toilet
Roger
paper, but we have cocaine and
This is 6
methamphetamine.
City News. All 4 of Ontario's teachers' unions will be staging a one-day walk on February the 21st after talks between the provincial government stall. Ontario Minister of Education Stephen Lecce tells 6 City News that he thinks getting back to the table and reaching an agreement is in everyone's best interest.
And I can't conceive why anyone would oppose an effort that may lead to an outcome that it works for all the parties, most importantly for the kids who I want in class. So I'm urging them to consider it, to invoke it, so that we can get a deal and end this needless escalation that happens far too often in Ontario. And I think a lot of parents out there are just sick and tired of it. And I want to be the force at the table driving us all to a deal that provides stability for everyone.
The union strike escalation comes as a result of the Ford government's increase in class sizes, mandatory e-learning, and funding on special education.
Still to come, traffic and weather together next.
680 News.
Toronto.
A wise man once said
all we
to
get.
treat your body like a temple. But what did he say about the temple you call home? Just like your body, only the best will do for your home. And Appliance Canada brings you
No, we're going back to music and another split, and then we'll listen to this bullshit. There's more on my magical little box here. You got one of these too, don't you? I'm gonna find some more. What am I doing here? Well, that's noisy.
What you do for somebody, do? When you try to look nice the way you wanna be.
What would you do for some money? What would you do for somebody, do? When you try to live good the way you wanna be. What would you do for somebody, do? When you try to look nice the way you wanna be.
Sans intérêt aucun, toutes les questions de guerre et le reste peu importe, mis du lapin au cou, la limite est franchie, la prise de tous ces portes et voilà c'est fini. L'éthique métisse, aventure d'un gosse paumé, la fait l'envers du décor et du billet vers la mort.
These days we'll never working hard. You the police, no money if you ain't got no ID card. Government's dying, people dying, but I still see them flying. This is what we're gonna feel. Maybe marketers, settlers, beggars, prostitution. It's all confusion. You might end up in institutions, but everything mentioned is just a dollar bill. What would you do for some money, dude? When you try to live good the way you wanna be. What would you do for some money, dude? When you try to look nice the way you wanna be.
Tête toute la nuit jusqu'à te rendre tout cri. Les quatre murs de ta chambre tournent en permanence, l'une après l'autre, les secondes défilent, nous devons combien de millions avant la délivrance. Alors que ferais-tu pour une poignée de larmes, mec? Sans sachant que le jadis t'as perdu.
What's the money do? When you're trying to live the way you wanna be. Watch what you do for some money do. When you're trying to look nice the way you wanna be.
Je t'ai connu sage et obéissant. Je t'ai vu grandir. J'ai reconnu ton père il y a 30 ans. Aujourd'hui, je t'ai vu chuter. Ça me fait mal.
It's Squeegee. Oh. See, I told you I had them all out of order. I was going through them backwards.
You hear that?
Do you hear that?
You smell that?
Uh-oh.
Damn, son, where'd you...
I'll show you one time, force you to learn. I'ma show you one time, force you to learn. Then it's over for you clowns and you forfeit your turn. Torture and burn, kill with no remorse or concern. I put your ashes on a medal in a porcelain urn. Court is adjourned, life bids handed out, no speaking. You better watch your step, cuz no sleeping. Put your goons in a hot whip, slow creeping. Hopping out, masked up, the flow deepens. These ain't cast and blasted for no reason. They ride for the cause, blasting the Mohicans. Blast of a dying breed, you don't wanna die and bleed. You will perish violently if you see the iron squeeze. Time to leave, shit is gonna get mucky. No miracles, you ain't gonna get lucky. It isn't gonna play like that. You gon' stiff and you gon' stay like that. Lay right flat, you gone. Bah, it's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive, you gone. Bah, it's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive.
Waiting for the rush, keep the 40 tucked. Talking about you let the 40 bug, nigga story up. Corner hot phone tap, followed home, police watching. 10 drop, pimps talking, hoes that be street walking. A deep option is to get the beat popping. A peace offering went to saying rest in peace often. Sleep coffin 6 feet, death is a must. Arrested and cuffed, prison ride next is a bug. The road cold, but the paper keep us warm in the night. With North Faces, bottle Ace, but we pouring the light. Tunnel vision, eyes lock, all I see is a dollar. Piece of shit in the mirror, all I see is my father, fuck him. The game got us all twisted in a hurricane. Lost my mind when the crime came and the murders came. To all my niggas getting bread on the grind. There's no bail when you're locked doing federal time.
You gone, bah, it's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive, you gone, bah, it's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive. I challenge any motherfucker to come harder than me and Grand.
Use the blam, empty the clip until I see him land.
All out, empty the strip, people fleeing grand.
I need a plan, triple beam scaling and key of grams.
Illegal jams, no options available. Coppers are tailing you, close friends failing you.
Penny ginger ale, a dude cushion a glass jar. Cocaine moving dope faster than NASCAR.
Trying to earn hard, but you crashed in a firestorm. Trying to live the life of a G in a higher form.
My dogs are riding for blood in and blood out. If you ain't down with my team, bitch, get the fuck out.
I take a bullet for my fam, I'm my brother's keeper. It ain't about no music, the struggle's deeper.
Drugs and tweakers searching for the best rock. Trap house, T-grams, crack man, next shot.
Gone, bah, it's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive, you gone, bah, it's a homicide. Family and your mama cry, permanently traumatized. On the grind and the murder rate is on the rise. Only the strong survive. Strong survive.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Ruckus.
Should mock me on the psych ward.
Lying hard like Van Dams on the sand, going ham. My guns don't jam. Fuck my friend, blast at the end. blood dance, take your chance, fake bras, get off, fuck a cop.
What the fuck it is, nigga? You're not listening to
Grinding, that's the motto we live by for timing. Playing games, we got no time, grind. Till our stacks so high, right? For all the niggas who are close by, if you ain't proud to please stay on the lower side. Big gun, eagle eye, that'll get your show fried, grind. That's the motto we live by,
UTC, I jumped the gun.
Yo, all of your foes
I tell these niggas act sick like my niggas won't air you or talk tough till you see me creeping in your rear view. So I dare you, if it's me you wanna harm G, shots make your heart stop, I'm out in a heartbeat. Always on my feet cause niggas sneak for the right price. When these dark streets I keep it close like a nightlight. When I let it go they take it off like a race. Niggas always rap, why you think this mask on my face? Why you think I'm on this block making cash different ways? Nipping to these heads with shots pushing back your waves. Your mom catching graves when my niggas sit and laugh. But it's a straight face when I stick them for the stash. Yo, cause John knows I got some stacks at my base. But I'm still robbing niggas like I'm flat on my face. Still shooting shots, no shoes, get them laced. Do the same dirty, get away with no trace.
Grinding, that's the motto we live by, put time in. Playing games, we got no time, grind. Till our stacks so high, right? For all the niggas who are close by, if you ain't proud to please stay on the lower side. Big gun, eagle eye, that'll get your show fried, grind. That's the motto we live by, right? Tell all of your foes die. Yo, I'll ride out for the close ones. Crunch time, do time for the close ones. When it comes down in the long run, you niggas broke, I'm the man with the long gun. You're fucking with the wrong one. If my niggas broke, I'ma break. I'ma get you smoked out like a dope head. Nigga owe you from this chrome lead. You owe me, pay me, or I slip things. Anything I find is mine, then I'm a jack. Certain niggas shouldn't chip, better off with a check. Certain niggas shouldn't grip, freeze when they see that bitch. Freeze when they see coonies. But it's nothing like the movie. Bunch of young youths with nothing but a tune. But we still on that fuck early. And the streets done cuff me. I'm counting money, got me feeling so lucky. Still feeling cursed cause I sleep with a duppy. You niggas on sweet and me I'm on my munchies. I mean on my grungy. So come try slug me. I love guns and my gun loves me. Strap on my side like a wife and a huggy. Clean shit, nice shit, no kid cuddly. Rubber band money, stack by the city. Come try jack me, I brought the strap with me. I brought the strap with me. Brought it with me.
They told me them Wicks and niggas is better than me. They told me them G-Way niggas is better than me. They told me them Reacher niggas is better than me. That is definitely me. I don't see my enemies in miles away. I'm up the niche, I had a child today.
I'm unsure what the beat. My head looks lopsided to me, anyway. That went through all the ones that? Shit.
Welcome to the Cousin C show. Now sit your ass the fuck down and shut the fuck up. Hit the gas mask, hit the gas mask. Like these rappers, where your ass at? You would last week, enjoy the past week. Lucky our music is everlasting.
I break the mostest, cause I spit it hotter than toasters. Check my name out on all the posters. When I hit the stage, drinks hit the coasters. Women packed all the way to the third row. We ain't in the strip club, we call it per bro. I don't know what you heard, ho. I'ma tell you straight, baby, I'm a cert pro. Running game like a pimp, bitch. Yeah, I'm running game with a limp, bitch. The big dog gonna teach you some tricks, bitch. Get out there, catch a date and stack my chips, bitch.
Hit the gas mask, hit the gas mask. One thing rappers, where your ass at? You would last week, enjoy the past week. Lucky our music's everlasting.
I don't care if they can see the license plates.
Track bruisers. Caught the beat in the back of the cruiser. Fuck the game up. Karma Sutra. In my Red Rover, I will run right through ya. Growl on the mic like a beast should.
Go hard on the beat to Clint Eastwood. Walk on water, everybody knew he would. Written in the scriptures, scholars knew he could. On my own, Julius Caesar. Take away my world, I only need her. What you coming? Only wanna be heard. The phoenix shall rise upon my return. Get the gas mask when we spark that.
How much was it?
I think we parked that.
Gas mask, when we pass that. One team rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be why our music's everlasting. The gas mask, when we pass that. One team rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be why our music's everlasting.
I go Coco, so loco. Whoop whoop, no coco. Ya don't know, I'm so pro. Go so slow, in a low. Twisted like Toto. Oh no, don't get like Tony Romo. Even the G's love me, no homo. With the crew, that's a no-no. I'm hydro when I flow. When I flow, it's tidal. Surf the beat, watch my roll. Grab the mic, kick hard like Tybo.
Gas mask, when we pass that. One team rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be why our music's everlasting. The gas mask, when we pass that. One team rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be why our music's everlasting.
They told me them wicks and niggas is better than me.
Damn, shit.
Oh, there's a little.
Party, but the sitter's waiting. I can't drink like I used to, and I probably shouldn't drive. But I don't know anyone who can give me a ride.
Because there was a point in time when
Maybe if
drinking
I
was
drive
good for you, right?
Safety concerns discourage women who have been drinking from taking a ride with someone they don't know. You leaving, Kate? My sister's picking me up. We could take you home.
It's like everybody that works for Uber is either a serial killer or a
Learn
rapist.
how to reduce the risk at changetheconversation.ca.
680 News Time, 11:26. Now time for the 680 Business Report. Here's Mike Ethel.
Markets reopened on Tuesday morning with the TSX at an all-time high and Bombardier in the spotlight. After the aerospace company announced over the weekend a sale of its rail division to Alstom of France for more than $8 billion US. Now, while this deal will help Bombardier pare down a massive debt load, it will see the company, which was a leader in Canadian aerospace and globally, at one time, a major player in the
I don't
market.
hear about Bombardier's flying themselves into the ground,
Just
do
a
you?
business jet division, which will still be worth billions of dollars on the shadow of Bombardier's former self. Now, at the same time, this deal will require a strict regulatory approval and may face resistance in the Eurozone, where the European Union has already previously blocked transactions in the aerospace industry. The Quebec pension fund, the Caisse de
It's not
Dépôt,
aerospace,
as a
it's
major
rails.
shareholder in the rail ops for Bombardier, will be the largest single shareholder in Alstom when and if the deal closes, and will possibly protect Canadian jobs. We'll be tracking Bombardier's share price on Bay Street. Over the past year, it's dropped by 70%. Stateside, we have the confirmation of Pier 1's bankruptcy protection filing. This comes weeks after the
I would've
company
said that's a good
warned that
time
it
to
was
buy, but
likely
you're fucking
to
up the
follow that
streetcar
route.
thing.
Faced with increased competition from the likes of Wayfair and Amazon, it will close more than 400 stores in North America, resulting in thousands of job cuts. At the same time, Pier 1 has effectively put itself up for sale to resuscitate the business, but is only giving itself a month to find a possible buyer.
Can you imagine
Apple
a
in
reason
the
for me to walk
spotlight
into
in
Pier
early
1?
Tuesday trade, as the company has warned that its first quarter results will be below forecast, with the effects of the coronavirus leading to the closure of Apple retail locations in China and the slowing of production at Apple's major source providers, including Foxconn. This will likely dampen
I
expectations
should do
on
a video of
Apple's
me
share
walking
price
into these
in
places.
early
Pier
Tuesday
1,
trade.
Tommy
In the
Bahama,
Business
Banana
Center,
Republic.
I'm Mike
What
Ethel.
else is there?
This is your breaking news station.
The videos of me walking in there dressed like this, telling them I need new clothes.
Automotive Experience is back. The 2020 Canadian International Auto Show, presented by the Toronto Star and Wheels.ca. These are transformative times.
Begin your experience dreaming big. Gaze at the world's finest in Auto Exotica. Presented by Castrol, an auto show favorite.
Getting serious about buying? Maybe an extra 50 grand would help. It's the TATA 50K giveaway, brought to you by the New Car Dealers of Ontario.
Kijiji Autos makes it easier for you to find and buy your next car with confidence. Test drive the Kijiji Autos app today.
Auto show is for families. 2 adults, 2 kids. Only $50. It's the Toys R Us Family Admission Pass.
Go to the auto show, just steps away from Union Station.
The 2020 Auto Show, presented by the Toronto Star and Wheels.ca. Transformative times. Metro Toronto Convention Center.
8.2 billion.
Until February 23rd.
Yesterday it said
1.7. Travelers forecast brought to you by IASecurities.ca. At IA Securities, advisors don't just build the wealth of their clients. They invest in a relationship of trust. Visit IASecurities.ca.
In Ottawa, light rain, 3 degrees. Right now in downtown Toronto, overcast and -1. 680 News Time, 11:30.
Number 1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Good evening. This is Monday, February 17th. I'm Tim Chapman.
And I'm Eden Tabella. Here's what's making news this hour. Environment Canada warning you to pack your patience as you hit the road tomorrow morning. A blast of winter weather expected after midnight, and it could affect the drive into work and school.
Right as soon as the weekend ends. See that?
Serious injuries after being involved in a 4-vehicle crash in Etobicoke.
Close down the border with China to fight COVID-19. Canada's health minister says that would be a bad idea and could make health emergencies even worse.
Thousands of anti-pipeline demonstrators have gathered in Christie Pitts Park to oppose the natural gas pipeline running through Wet'suwet'en territory in northern BC.
Panthers creep closer to the
The
Maple
number
Leafs.
is right, I guess it's right there.
Full Blue Jay squad reports for spring training.
Mr. What's your name again? Mark?
Apple says
How come
it
all you
won't
marks
miss
with a
its
C
quarterly
are crackheads?
Revenue forecast because of the coronavirus, hitting its business in China. Bombardier sells its rail division to Alstom for more than $8 billion US. Business at 56.
680 News Time, 11:31.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Craig Gear.
This report is brought to you by Spurtsnet. So we have a disabled vehicle. We have a stall on the westbound 403. It's in the collectors around Matheson. It's a right lane that's blocked. Everyone is up to speed through this stretch. There's just not enough people on the road right now at this time to cause a problem. Just heads up if you're out that way. You'll notice
You got people using quotation marks on your signs, and you're wondering why you're spreading a virus.
No major problems on any of the highways. We do have that stalled vehicle again, still on the East 401 route to Leslie. It's blocking the right lane, but everyone's up to speed through it. Just actually taking a look at the Winford camera on the DVP. It looks to be looking northbound. It's blocking the right lane there as you're traveling northbound on the DVP, just north of Eglinton. It's off to the right side. Emergency crews are on the scene, so just move over. It's not really causing a problem, but it's brand new and it just popped up now. See the Grandmasters of Curling compete in 6 Grand Slam events. The Pinty's Grand Slam of Curling on Sportsnet. Your next report is at 11:41 with forecast. Here's Denise Andriacci.
Weather advisories in effect as snowfall moves into the GTA tonight through the overnight and into Tuesday morning is when we're going to see the bulk of this active weather. Lows near -3 tonight, highs tomorrow near +6. So that's a little unusual for this time of year, and it's because the system is ushering in some milder, moist air from the Gulf. We're going to see a changeover from snow to potentially some freezing precipitation and eventually some rain, snow mixing and scattered showers for parts of the GTA. Your overnight low tonight, -3.
Right now in downtown Toronto, overcast, -1 degree, but feeling like -8 with the wind. At the Pearson Airport, similar conditions, -1, but feeling like -6.
Could make up these fucking headlines.
33.
Some steady snowfall overnight, prompting Environment Canada to issue travel advisories for the GTA.
680's Karen Seelman reports.
Environment Canada warning you to pack your patience as you hit the road after the family day-long weekend. A blast of winter weather could affect the drive into work and school. Weather specialist Malia Sheikh says the bulk of the snow will fall overnight, and we could see up to 8 centimeters on the ground by the morning commute.
So those roads will be a little bit tricky. Poor winter driving conditions are expected because of accumulating snow and low visibility on the roads, so drive carefully.
According to the National Weather Agency, freezing rain could also be a problem, but at least it'll be warm. Temperatures will hit above the freezing mark, turning snow to rain, which should end by late morning. I'm Karen Seolin.
Meantime, 6 Cities' Lasha Kretzel reports Canada's health minister says shutting out Chinese travelers and trade could actually make it harder to tackle the COVID-19 outbreak.
Patty Haidu says people could find connecting flights from other countries and lie about where they've been, making it hard to screen anyone coming to Canada. And there's other unintended consequences.
It's a computer screen. You press no.
Countries were to suspect that if they had an outbreak, the border would get closed, there would be sanctions economically, and all of a sudden that transparency that the world relies on. Imagine if, in fact, countries stopped sharing that information. We would, in a global health sense, be in a bit of a pickle.
At the same time, the Public Health Agency of Canada is reviewing its protocols for healthcare workers after nurses' unions said they weren't good enough to deal with COVID-19. I'm Lasha Kretzel. Meantime, there are calls now for more funding to help battle COVID-19. This is almost 1,800 people have died from the virus in China alone.
The number of coronavirus cases in China have been declining. The director of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Adhanom, is asking for financial help.
We have put out a call for $675 million to support countries to prepare. I thank those donors who have contributed.
The World Health Organization says teams are finding out more about how serious this is.
It also appears that COVID-19 is not as deadly as other coronaviruses, including SARS and MERS.
I'm Ed Donahue.
Yeah, the other two that are deadly.
News time,
It's not deadlier than the other top two deadly ones.
Charges
It's only
were
number
laid in
3.
a 4-vehicle crash in Etobicoke. 2 women, one of them a pedestrian, the other a driver involved in the crash, were sent to hospital as a result. Their injuries are considered serious, possibly life-threatening. The intersection of Kipling and Lakeshore Boulevard was closed, but has since reopened.
This is 680 News at 11:36. Thousands of people descended on Queen's Park this afternoon for anti-pipeline demonstrations. This is just one of many taking place across the country in support of the Wet'suwet'en peoples in BC. 680's Michelle Mackey reports.
In what appears to be Toronto's largest Wet'suwet'en strong rally yet, at least 1,000 anti-pipeline protesters marched from Christie Pitts to Queen's Park. They joined Wet'suwet'en supporters across the country opposing a natural gas pipeline set to run through the First Nation territory in northern BC and the RCMP injunction enforcing its construction.
If they want to stop the rail lines from being blockaded, they should just take the RCMP off. It's a very simple problem to solve.
Rail blockades have disrupted a large
Shout out
portion
to
of Canada's rail system,
Anti-Assassination
including
Squad.
freight
I
and
know I
passenger
haven't
trains
been off
from
of a
Toronto
video
to
camera
both
for more than
Ottawa
about a
and
minute.
Montreal.
Wow,
Maybe they shouldn't have built the rail lines on
I know what I'm
Indigenous
doing.
land.
That's the message from protesters to those who want federal intervention. At Lauren Christie, I'm Michelle Mackey.
680 News Time, 11:37. An emergency meeting of cabinet ministers was held today to discuss the anti-pipeline blockades, but participants aren't discussing any details. After the meeting, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had only a brief comment on the issue.
We're going to continue to focus on resolving the situation quickly and peacefully, and that's what we're going to do.
Joe called off a planned 2-day trip to the Caribbean to take part in
Do I
today's
care if
talks.
you can't get fucking
This Friday,
cornflakes?
all 4 of Ontario's teachers' unions will be staging a one-day
Pay
walkout
somebody to
across
drive
the
it there on a
province.
truck.
And that's if they don't reach
The
a deal with the
Teamsters,
government
right?
before then. Minister of Education Stephen Lecce says taking students out of the classroom isn't the answer.
It's about protecting the status quo for them. It's about maintaining the benefits and wages.
How many people are in that park right now? Do they know they're 10 minutes from the
I think
tracks?
we need the government to stand strong.
So I can go down there and tell them.
Students got to come first in this
I'm
negotiation.
making a whole bunch
and
of
more
noise right
importantly,
now.
they ought to be in class while we negotiate.
Negotiations between the union and the Conservative government have stalled over key issues such as increased class sizes, mandatory e-learning, and funding for special education.
680 News Time, 11:38. The Canadian company that supplied Toronto's rail fleet for decades is being sold. 680's Meg Black reports.
A transformational deal, this sale will allow Bombardier to refocus solely on private jets while casting off its largest division in part to help pay down a chunk of its $9.3 billion worth of debt. Alstom announced it had secured a deal with Bombardier and major shareholder Caisse de dépôt et placement du Québec to acquire Bombardier Transportation for roughly 8.5 billion Canadian dollars in stock and cash. The deal is expected to officially close in the first half of 2021, so long as no regulatory speed bumps slow it down. Bombardier shares have fallen 70% since July 2018. Meanwhile, Alstom's have risen by more than 50% over the past 2 years. Now, this isn't coming as much of a surprise as rumors have been gaining traction over recent weeks of whether or not they'd be selling off their train division as a reset and means of reducing that swelling debt. I'm Meg Black.
Traffic and weather together on the ones next. 6 City News Time, 11:39.
It's me, the announcement system for GO Transit, here to announce kids 12 and under can now ride the GO for free. Kids can travel to Ripley's Aquarium for free. Did you know octopuses have 3 hearts? I did. I know everything. But I would give it all up just for one of those hearts. I'd learn to love. So one day I could understand the love parents have, knowing their kids can ride for free. Discover more at gotransit.com/.
Okay, I couldn't make this up. I'm going to read these in the order I noticed them in. Nurses unions warn national standards for coronavirus protection too low. Okay. Japan confirms 99 more cases of 2019 NCOV, COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever the fuck you want to call it, on cruise ship. Canadians stranded aboard cruise ship in Japan to be flown home. What the fuck kind of quarantine is that? Yeah, I'm sure there was something else here I was about to read. You heard the license plates can't be read. And we heard what Trudeau had to say. Which is nothing. Calls for justice 40 days after Ukrainian jet shot down. That's 42 days now. Fuck.
This is for my haters up. Yeah, we got the greatest flow. Sipping on that medicine, you know we got that medical. Raving the young, nigga, we some hooligans. Raving the young.
There's no sound, is there?
This is for my haters up. Yeah, we got the greatest flow. Sipping on that medicine, you know we got that medical. Raving the young, nigga, we some hooligans. Raving the young, nigga, we some hooligans. I know why haters up. Yeah, we got that greatest flow. Sipping on that medicine, you know that shit is medical. Raving the young, we some hooligans. Raving the young, we some hooligans.
What's up, bro? So you said I could rap and all my songs suck?
Until every one of them dies. We shoot back, that's what they doing. We put a heat on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleed on levels, even some rebels coming to rise. We ain't moving, we shoot until every one of them dies. We shoot back,
running up with ocean and in no way out. Ain't the type to break his friends for the ones that wanna be saved and I don't wanna be saved. I'm gonna put in work for all my peoples in the dirt, assuring you your death is worth something. And no nothing is ever gonna slow us down with the spirit of a warrior on the front line before us, not even book can stop us down. the tracks popping off my gas, staying straight. Wasn't until them bodies dead. It ain't over till I lost his back, and that's a fact. Where you at? In the struggle, baby. Savage on the hustle. I'm gonna grab him by the face and wrap their mouth around my muzzle.
What the fuck they doing? Losing the heat on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleeding on rebels, they just some rebels coming around. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back. That's what they doing. Losing the heat on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleeding on rebels, they just some rebels coming around. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back. I'm strapping off of the head, I'm on the savage. We gon' blast them till they drop and off our land now. We not gon' stand by. We're out here watching the fam die. I'm dumb busted, dumb son. These motherfucking blood sucking vampires. Know your place, they say. But we embrace the hate and chase away the pain. Now we the range and say this ain't the bang on anybody. Looking crooked, looking now you made me this. Look around, hanging pistol devils, murdering baby kids. You in the midst of a war, picking your door with pistols, swirling anti.
30 pieces of silver for every man, woman, and child. Remember that.
Just like the old days, a whole gang of savages don't care to die of old age. It's so sacred, this hatred that we was born with. Nurture for the purpose of keeping us on this war shit. Some shaking burners, we angry as the time goes. Shoot them with this look Wally power and watch them die slow. What the fuck they doing? Losing the heat on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleeding on rebels, they just some rebels coming around. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back. That's what they doing. Losing the heat on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleeding on rebels, they just some rebels coming around. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back.
Where you going? Niggas be ready to roll the war. Ain't no settling scores. We just taking them down to the floor. We bringing this heat so raw. We savage down to the core. We've been waiting for this so long, and now we ready like never before. And there ain't no stopping it. Beginning of the apocalypse. We own this monster shit, burning down the metropolis. We taking hostages and taking your government's intel. We taking their heads off just to show you this shit is real. We hold javelins, known for bone shattering, posting domes battering, foes. We so savage shit. We from the coast and we can power like the storms. Hurricanes running through my veins, coming with no remorse. You better be ready for us. You ready with deadly force. You fuck your military, cause we coming to take down force. What? See what they started now. America is the target. They call it the home of the brave. Native, I call it the home of the heartless.
What the fuck they doing? Losing the heat on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleeding on rebels, they just some rebels coming around. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back. That's what they doing. Losing the heat on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleeding on rebels, they just some rebels coming around. We ain't moving, we shooting till every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot
Overdose.
This is for my haters, y'all we got the greatest look. Sipping on that medicine, you know we got that medical. Rating the young hood, nigga with some hooligans. Rating the young hood, nigga with some hooligans. This is for my haters, y'all we got the greatest look. Sipping on that medicine, you know we got that medical. Rating the young hood, nigga with some hooligans. Rating the young hood, young hood. This is for my haters, yeah, we got the greatest look. Sipping on that medicine, you know we got that medical. Rating the young hood, nigga with some hooligans. Rating the young hood, nigga with some hooligans. I know why haters, yeah, we got that greatest look. Sipping on that medicine, you know that shit is medical. Rating the young hood, some hooligans.
Mission, boy, these rappers be
tripping. Shit used to be cold, now cooking in the kitchen, right slash sunny. Listen, lane switching, steady dipping. I'm not here to play. I've been walking through hell, I'm not here to stay. You asking what I'm burning? Bro, smoking Mumbai, and who are they? A bunch of haters with nothing so good to say. OC, MTL, mark this on your log. We bringing so much smoke, the streets catching all the fog. I ain't pro, this my job. Fire behind the power, I'll devour like the mob. Now everyone got a prop. Keep it humble in the meantime. You'll see why I got a gun and a stick like I'm blowing up beehives. I've been chilling in the shadows, playing for battle, a kid to travel and then skedaddle. Go meet the gavel, start giving me space. So if I get lucky with this money, then I'll be pulling that ace.
Yeah, we got the greatest flow, sipping on that medicine. You know we got that medical. Ready to go, nigga with some hooligans. Ready to go, nigga with some hooligans. And it's for my haters though. Yeah, we got that greatest flow, sipping on that medicine. You know that shit is medical. Ready to go, with some hooligans. Yo, what's up, hood? Yeah, man, I be grinding, I'm on my grind, bro. And I be smoking on that killer that be that high, bro. Hood famous nigga, yeah, you know we getting high, yo. Smoking on that purple, cause I don't fuck with that lean, though. Oh my god, killing shit like my name is Zod. Superman flying high, like I'm in the fucking clouds. Reading black, got my back, rolling picture it up at the pack. And my boys are Cheerios. Get some silly hoes, playing just like hooligans. And you know we play the way. Hit the pot, I'm smoking in these bitches, they so extra shit. Stuck a dicky fucking bitch, I gotta hit the block and six. I got a chop, he need a fix. Funny ain't called letters six. Gliding through the paddocks quick. Pussy niggas talking shit. I ain't telling lies, hope. F1, yeah, that's my click. Momo, he up next, bitch. Haters on that trolling shit. I can never get with it, it's probably taking no quick. This is for my haters, though. Yeah, we got the greatest flow. Sipping on that medicine, you know we got that medical. Ready to go, nigga with some hooligans. Ready to go, nigga with some hooligans. And this for my haters, though. Yeah, we got that greatest flow. Sipping on that medicine, you know that shit is medical. Ready to go, with some hooligans. Ready to go, with some hooligans.
This one's for the ravers. Don't care, still fair under blazers. Got pushed by the acres. Dudes in the middle of the streets playing poker. We wildin'. We don't mind firing. Looking at them like
they are just an audience.
Shout out to all of my dudes who be hustling, bagging them dimes and pushing on the onion, whipping and turning the cushion to muffins, cookies and brownies. Everything is plugging in. You cannot handle it. Please do not touch it. We do not sleep, but death is your cousin. I'm about to bring the rain to the whole block, like a raid rushing in with the riot squad. You're getting turned up, bitches getting turned on. She want the top dog, fuck it till she goes off. I'm about to bring the rain to the south side. We raving, I ain't trying to go inside. We on our way from the day to the night time. We outside, brought the rain to the south side. Attention all white boys, attention all white chicks. People who smoke bombs and don't really like splits. It's amazing, we raving on the night shift. Partying and wildin', feeding off excitement. I'm about to go jackass, smoke a batch of that hash with art snap. Got me moving like Steve-O. Tonight be the night that I put it on the emo. I'm stressed like a bet on a double up in kilo. Niggas said they don't sleep, I only see my white couple. Brunettes and blondies, shaking to the red note. 4 a.m. we still up eating French toast, wasted. Just made the first page of Metro. Buzzing like a beetle, I keep a D-ego. Put it through his skin, but it sting like mosquito. Everything's illegal, the us is all legal. Papers in the front row, mayor in the back row. Met the daredevil and he said that I was evil. It's a rape thing, we raping till we comatose. We raping till we comatose. I'm about to bring the rape to the south side. We raving, I ain't trying to go inside. We on our way from the day to the night time. We outside, brought the rape to the south side. Attention all white boys, attention all white chicks. People who smoke bombs and don't really like splits. It's amazing, we raving on the night shift. Partying and wildin', feeding off excitement. I'm a raver, how I'm raving. Money's buzzing like someone just tased him. And he's feeling so amazing, but he never ever felt this wasted. 10 shots, straight shots, nigga, no chasing. More shots for ones who couldn't make it. The rest of the shots on the bitches half naked. Diagnosed with insomnia since grade 6. Get money, get high, back to the same shit. We pull up in a drop top, we pull up in the same shit. Only difference is a model from 06. I duck load and reload, then back with the same clip. It's from dog, you know dog, I'm back on my race shit. Party with acquaintances is what I call raping. I'm killing if they sick of it, I'm screaming out, amen. Swallowing and kissing it and throwing away a wedding ring.
ShopTSC.ca.
What you really do, I got all the snow. Come right off the boat, come right off the boat. Come right off the boat, come right off the boat. This year you already know. I feel like I've been the GOAT. I know I can hold my own. I know I can hold my own. All I know that crime pay. I'ma get it one day. I'm cruising down the highway. All I know that crime pay. Get 'em money 5 ways. I'm cruising down the highway. I'ma get it one day.
Yeah, they talking, but they never lived it. I've been gunning for them 7 digits. Came back with a better vision. I ain't never switching. I'ma get this chicken. Crime pays, that's my way. Try to tell them, but they never listen. Fuck the ops, fuck the cops. I'ma make a millions win a Merry Christmas. I've been on it since Dipset. How they wanna get their lips wet. All these bitches used to try to swear me. Now I'm flexing on them with this pimp set.
All I know that crime pay. I'ma get it one day. I'm cruising down the highway. All I know that crime pay. Get 'em money 5 ways. I'm cruising down the highway. I'ma get it one day. All I know that crime pay. I'ma get it one day. I'm cruising down the highway. All I know that crime pay. Get 'em money 5 ways.
Pension fund the case that it hoped it was brokering a pair of mega deals. First off, the case is going to be the largest single shareholder in Alstom of France, the rail company, as Alstom is going to buy Bombardier's rail operations in an $8.2 billion deal. The case, a major shareholder in the Bombardier rail division. Now, this deal will still need regulatory approval. It's going to take months to complete, but if and when it does, it will help Bombardier alleviate billions of dollars worth of outstanding debt. But at the same time, Bombardier will be a shadow of its former self, as the only remaining business in this legacy company will be its business jet division. Separately, the case is also doing a deal for the Cirque du Soleil, as it is buying the company's founder, Guy Laliberté, the last of his interest in the entertainment behemoth. Laliberté exiting after nearly 36 years following the launch of the Quebec-based circus troupe. The cast is buying this interest in the case. The price, or in the Cirque du Soleil, no price tag given on that transaction. Bay Street gets back to work Tuesday with the TSX at a record high. It was up by 27 points in the Friday trade going into the long weekend. This week, the spotlight turns to the banks, as we'll get quarterly results from the big Canadian banks Walmart reports quarterly earnings early Tuesday. The world's largest retailer is reporting earnings for its holiday sales season, so we'll see how it did against Amazon, specifically related to its e-commerce sales activity. General Motors shrinking in some markets as the company has formally announced that it is pulling out of Australia, New Zealand, and Thailand. It's part of a strategy to exit markets that don't produce adequate returns on investment. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
Really?
What's your next adventure? See it, do it, live it at the Outdoor Adventure Show this weekend at the International Center. Explore hundreds of exhibits with great deals on the best outdoor gear and awesome travel experiences. Plan your perfect adventure. Scale the rock wall, see Survivorman Les Stroud live, catch canoe and kayak action in the whitewater pool, and bring the kids to inspire the magic of camping. The fun is at the Outdoor
Inspire
Adventure
the
Show.
magic of camping. What the fuck are you
This
talking
Friday
about?
through Sunday, the International Center. We make sure you're the first to know.
680 News.
This is how you're homeless in a forest.
Because I wanted to help
That's good
others.
to know.
To be a part of something bigger.
To show my kids what's important.
I joined to make my community stronger.
To make a difference in someone's life.
To acknowledge that our freedoms come at a cost.
I joined to honor my mom.
My grandpa.
My neighbor.
Everyone who served.
Who are serving still. Honoring veterans is our duty. Join today at legion.ca/join.
Being right matters.
So if our weather forecast is off by more than 3 degrees,
You could win cash.
details at 680news.com.
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for Walmart.
Now at Walmart, save $2.19 on a 12-pack of Activia yogurt. Now only $3.78. That's another reason why grocery bills are lower at Walmart.
Now, let's look at your regional weather conditions. Starting a bit further north here, Richmond Hill, overcast and -2. The wind chill making that feel like -3. Out east, overcast and -3 degrees in Pickering. Right here at home, -1, partly cloudy, feeling like -6. 680 News time. 12 o'clock.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Good morning. This is Tuesday, February the 18th. I'm Madison Fitzpatrick.
And I'm Jordan Coulter. Here's what's making news this hour.
Some steady snowfall overnight, prompting travel advisories for the GTA. Environment Canada warning, it could affect the drive into work and school.
A serious crash in Etobicoke has left 2 women in hospital with serious injuries.
MPs are returning to the House of Commons with the Trudeau government facing criticisms from all sides over its handling of the anti-pipeline rail blockades. The Prime Minister is committed to ending the protests quickly but peacefully.
Now is the time we need to make way for new leadership.
The Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador making a surprise announcement. He's stepping down from the job.
Maple Leafs try to shake off Sunday's loss to get ready for the Penguins, and spring training in full swing for the Blue Jays. Sports at 15.
Bay Street starts the week with the TSX at a record. Bombardier gets that deal to sell its rail division to Alstom, and Walmart set to report earnings. Business at 26.
680 News Time, 12:01. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Michael Ranger.
This report brought to you by Aaron Wood Ford. We've got a quiet drive route on the major routes right now, just looking at a couple of issues. Neither of them are causing any delays. On the eastbound 401, the ramp to Leslie, we've got a stalled vehicle. MTO is on scene there. It's blocking the right lane of the ramp, so you can still access Leslie Street from the east 401. Just be aware there is a stalled vehicle blocking the right lane. You're going to have to get by in the left lane. Again, not causing any delays, very lightly traveled roads at this hour. Other than that, 401 in great shape. It's moving fine in both directions. We've got another problem on the westbound 403 at Dundas Street. The left lane is blocked there. Maintenance vehicles on scene. They're cleaning up some debris. So again, just this is West 403 just going by Dundas. Once again, no slowdown through that stretch. Just something to watch out for. Other than that, 403 is moving fine. You're driving in or out of downtown right now is a smooth one. DVP north-south, no issues. Gardner eastbound and westbound, it's all up to speed. We do have that long-term construction on the Gardner, down to 2 lanes in both directions between York Street and the DVP. Lane restrictions aren't a problem right now with the light traffic, but as part of it, the westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis remains closed. Once again, all your major routes are moving fine right now. People from everywhere are buying online at aaronwoodford.com. Just click and save, and right now get Auto Show bonus bucks. Buy your car online at aaronwoodford.com. Next traffic reports at 12:11 with the forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
plus 5 today, quite a bit warmer than our seasonal average of just -1. But we are expecting a wet start to the day, so maybe give yourself a little extra time on those roads. And then cloudy conditions for much of the day, a low of -5. Your high for today, 5 degrees.
Right now, downtown Toronto, we are sitting at 0 degrees, although it feels more like -6 under an overcast sky. And now taking a look over at Pearson Airport, overcast, -1, feeling more like -6. 680 News Time, 12:03. Attention drivers, it could be a slow drive this morning. A winter weather travel advisory is in effect for Toronto as a band of snow moves through southern Ontario. 680's Karen Thielen has the details. Environment Canada warning a brief period of freezing rain is also possible overnight, but the real problem on the roads will be the snow. Weather specialist Malia Sheikh tells us why.
We could be seeing up to 8 centimeters of snowfall by this morning. So make sure you drive carefully on those roads because of that accumulating snow and low visibility that will impact your commute.
That snow, though, becoming rain or drizzle later in the morning, and we have another mild day on tap with temperatures expected to rise above 0. I'm Karen Thielen. 680 News Time at 12:04. 2 women are being rushed to hospital after being involved in a serious car crash in Etobicoke. According to Toronto Police, up to 4 vehicles were involved in the collision in the Lakeshore Boulevard West and Kipling area. EMS say a pedestrian hit in the crash. One of the drivers are suffering from serious injuries. And as you've been hearing, road closures in the area have now since reopened. You're listening to 680 News. As protests and rail blockades continue across the country, BC Indigenous Relations Minister Scott Fraser says he's hoping for a peaceful pause while some of the underlying issues can be discussed. Fraser and Carolyn Bennett, the Federal Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations, say they want to meet with the Wet'suwet'en hereditary clan chiefs, whose opposition to a natural gas pipeline sparked the solidarity actions.
I thought it was my opposition to the pipeline all by itself.
We've seen labor disputes in the province that take a while to run their course. I'm hoping that we can get a period of calm here while we work on the dialogue about how to move forward while the Wet'suwet'en work on their governance issues internally.
Their governance issues internally.
Well, the hereditary chiefs say the pipeline has no authority without their consent. Wet'suwet'en elected band councils that administer reserves have signed agreements with company Coastal GasLink.
It's got nothing to do
And
with
the House
us.
of Commons is getting back underway today following a break week filled with anti-pipeline protests and rail blockades that have brought large amounts of passenger and freight traffic to halt across the country. The demonstrations are in opposition to a natural gas pipeline that crosses the Wet'suwet'en First Nation in British Columbia. Our local 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney has more on the political tension.
As demonstrations continue across the nation, expect some fiery exchanges in the House of Commons.
Absolutely, they're going to be attacked on both sides.
Political scientist Wayne Bratt tells me conservatives are angry the Prime Minister has not yet ordered police to stop these blockades given the economic impact, while New Democrats are calling for an emergency debate over Indigenous rights. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau trying to avoid another Oka crisis, cancelling a trip to Barbados in order to find a solution. He held an emergency meeting yesterday with key ministers.
Continue to focus on resolving the situation quickly and peacefully.
But the question is, how do they do that? So far, meetings between ministers and Indigenous communities have not produced concrete results, although more talks are being planned. First Nations leaders will be giving their point of view, speaking to reporters later today in the capital. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
680 News Time, 12:06. A surprise announcement from the Liberal Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, Dwight Ball, announcing he'll be stepping down. 680's Tim Parent has that story.
Following his re-election to a reduced minority government last year, Premier Dwight Ball says now is the right time to step away from the job.
After 3 successful election campaigns that captured both a majority and minority government, I cannot ask my friends and family to follow me into another campaign.
Ball says both his party and his province need new leadership. He will remain on until a successor is found and will continue to represent his riding until the writ is dropped in another provincial election. I'm Tim Parent.
6 City News telling 12:07, all four of Ontario's teachers' unions will be staging a one-day walkout on February 21st after talks between the provincial government has stalled. Ontario Minister of Education Stephen Lecce tells 6 City News that he thinks getting back to the table and reaching an agreement is in everyone's best interest.
And I can't conceive why anyone would oppose an effort that may lead to an outcome that works for all the parties, most importantly for the kids who I want in class. So I'm urging them to consider it, to invoke it, so we can get a deal and end this needless escalation that happens far too often in Ontario. And I think a lot of parents out there are just sick and tired of it. And I want to be the force at the table driving us all to a deal that provides stability for everyone.
The union strike escalation comes as a result of the Ford government's increase in class sizes, mandatory e-learning, and funding of special education. 680 News Time, 12:08. Delta Airlines is contacting customers after it became known that two passengers who flew on a flight over the Pacific Ocean have now been treated for coronavirus.
Delta Airlines says it is reaching out to customers who flew from Hawaii to Japan now that it's known two passengers on board a flight received treatment for coronavirus. Delta says it was a flight on February 6th from Hawaii to Japan. The two people traveled together and then they found out they had coronavirus. Delta says it is proactively reaching out to customers who were on the flight and it's working to ensure the safety of the crew. Alex Stone, EBC News.
6 City News Time, 12:08, and starting
But
today's
only the
subway
three
service
rows
on
are
line
in front
between
and
Finch and
behind.
St. Clair
They don't
Station
mention the
will end
next
at
aisle
11
of
p.m.
seats,
on
though.
to Thursday, February 20th for maintenance. Shuttle buses will be running and service will resume at 6 a.m. each morning. The TTC is reminding riders that ticket collector booths at North York Centre stations will be closed. Coming up, traffic and weather. Together on the 1, 6 City News Time, 2:09.
When you need to know, now.
680news.com.
Introducing the all-new 2020 Ford Escape.
2020, baby, all new.
With available head-up display technology.
Keep your head up.
And best-in-class second-row legroom.
For them long legs.
People are really excited about the 2020 Ford Escape SE all-wheel drive.
Understatement.
Lease it for 40 months at 3.49% APR with $3,000 down. That's only $187 every 2 weeks.
Only $187.
Visit your local Ford store or Ford.ca. Really?
Now, the 6 City News gas price update, as Enpro predicted, the price didn't budge at midnight. It's holding at just under $1.13 a liter at most GTA stations. 6 City News Time, it's 2:10.
It's your February Casino Rama Resort concert announcement. Music legend Tony Bennett returns on May 1st. Country superstar Martina McBride on May 2nd. Canadian country music star Tim Hicks May 23rd. Entertainment icon Marie Osmond returns for the Symphony June 6th. Actor-comedian Rodney Carrington on June 13th. And don't miss Russell Peters live on June 19th and 20th. Tickets are on sale now through Ticketmaster. For more information, visit CasinoRama.com.
Ozempic. Have you heard about Ozempic? That's right. Ozempic comes in a pre-filled pen. And good news, Ozempic is covered by most private insurance plans and ODB, the Ontario Drug Benefit Program.
Motherfucker. Oh, motherfucker.
Time 12:11, time for traffic and weather. Together on the 1, here's Michael Ranger.
This report brought to you by Queensway Hyundai. Just a couple of problems on the major routes right now, none of them causing any delays.
Remember those
Eastbound
people
401, the ramp to
Gardner?
Leslie, we've got a stalled vehicle there in the right lane. There's maintenance crews on scene. You can
That
still
would really
access
fuck
Leslie
shit up
Street from
in
the
the
East
morning, wouldn't
401 using the left lane of that ramp. Again, no slowdown through that ramp either. We got very lightly traveled roads right now. Other than that, 401, no problems at all in either direction. It's moving fine. Other issue we have is on the westbound 403 at Dundas Street. We've got maintenance crews on scene there. They're cleaning up some debris. They're blocking the left lane. Looking at this one on the camera, again, you can get by easily. There's still 2 right lanes. Nothing slowing down, just a visual distraction at this point. Other than that, 403 is up to speed. You're driving around downtown right now is a good one. DVB is moving well in both directions, Gardner, east and west. There's no problems. Just a reminder, westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis is closed as part of the long-term construction going on the Gardner Expressway. All your other major routes are up to speed. Celebrate the month of love at Queensway Hyundai with 0% lease or finance and don't pay for 90 days on select models. For full details, visit queenswayhyundai.ca.
Next traffic reports at 12:21 with your forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
Wet start to your Tuesday, so those roads will be a little bit slippery. Maybe give yourself a little extra time to get to work today. A daytime high of 5 degrees, quite a bit warmer than our seasonal average of just -1, a low of -5. Wednesday, it does cool down quite a bit. A daytime high of -4, feeling like -10 with the wind chill and partly cloudy conditions, a low of -10. Your high for today, 5 degrees.
Downtown Toronto, right now it is 0, feeling like -6. Over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions there, -1, feeling like -6. The Toronto budget will be front and center this week. The bulk of the $13.5 billion will go towards paying for the city operations, the TTC, and emergency services. It also included our $67 million worth of new spending. Under the budget, property taxes are set to increase at the rate of inflation, and when combining with the city building fund to address transit and housing, 2020 property taxes will go up just over 4%. The budget will go before full council on Wednesday. Still to come on 680 News, we'll tell you what home goods retailer has filed for bankruptcy. 680 News time, 12:13.
Hey, what's with the motorcycle revving over there?
It's saying the Toronto Motorcycle Show is coming. What? You can interpret. There's more. February 21st through 23rd.
Wow, you really love motorcycles.
Yes.
The Toronto Motorcycle Show, presented by NFP, is back from February 21st to 23rd at the Intercare Center, Exhibition Place. Women pay half price after 5 on Friday and can enter to win an exciting prize. Visit TorontoMotorcycleShow.ca for details.
What's it saying now?
Come to the show and get hands-on.
Over the years, one develops a personal network. An accountant, lawyer, financial planner. Why not an automotive advisor? Since 1958, Audi Queensway has provided discerning GTA drivers with expert advice and attractive incentives.
Right now, enjoy up to an $8,000 Audi Quattro credit on the 2019 Q7 and a complimentary maintenance package.
I'm Chris Lang, General Manager. My first piece of advice, a visit to 1635 The Queensway or AudiQueensway.ca. Drive well, drive safe.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
It's 0 degrees with an overcast sky. Good morning. I'm Madison Fitzpatrick in the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. Here are the top stories this hour. Environment Canada is urging drivers to use caution going to work this morning as winter weather travel advisory is in effect. Road closures have now reopened in Etobicoke after a serious crash, leaving 2 women in hospital with serious injuries. Political tensions are high as the House of Commons return to work today following a break week filled with anti-pipeline protests and rail blockades. And coming up after sports, a state of emergency has been declared in Mississippi due to historic floods. 680 News time, 12:15. Now 680 Sports and Sportsnet 590 The Fans. Here's Andy McNamara.
Thank you very much. The full Blue Jays squad joined pitchers and catchers Monday in Dunedin as spring training really kicked off. Toronto sees their first game action Saturday against the Yankees. Maple Leafs have an off day, and after that loss to Buffalo, boy, head coach Sheldon Keefe was frustrated.
I really should have read this Trudeau article.
For a really long time, we haven't been able to get the results that I think we're capable of getting, but each game has been a little bit different in terms of what the issues are.
A tough home and home coming up for the Maple Leafs against the Penguins starting Tuesday. Around the NHL, Panthers get by San Jose 5-3.
Oh, it's short. I guess we'll get through it together.
Third in the Atlantic. The LA
Trudeau to meet with Incident Response Group, the IRG, over anti-pipeline protests. They always love throwing that G in there. I's and R's and G's. They love those letters. I got the most ridiculous photos of this guy. These are like the best quality, most ridiculous photos I keep finding of this guy. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will be meeting today with the Incident Response Group to work on a plan for dealing with the protests and blockades that have shut down much of Canada's rail system. The group, which includes senior cabinet members, was created in 2018 to handle incidents that have major national implications. The federal government has faced growing pressure to resolve the escalating dispute over a natural gas pipeline that crosses Wet'suwet'en territory in northern British Columbia. Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs oppose the pipeline and are receiving support from First Nations as well as non-Indigenous protesters across the country in trying to shut down the multi-billion-dollar project. Trudeau canceled a planned trip to Barbados today to deal with the growing crisis. He had been slated to meet with Caribbean leaders to campaign for a temporary seat on the UN Security Council. Why is there a hyphen between U and N? UN Security Council, but Foreign Affairs Minister François-Philippe Champagne will now represent Canada in Trudeau's place. Good. He'd probably do a better job. I'm sure of it. Just his name alone is going to open some doors, I'm sure. Last week, they should have sent him to fucking, is it Senegal that speaks French? One of these places they sent him to speaks French. Last week, federal conservative leader Andrew Scheer said the government should order the RCMP, lots of hyphens in there, to end the rail blockades, calling them illegal. How are they illegal? Unfair. Wow. All's fair. And a serious threat to the economy. No, but your economy's shot already. Trudeau, however, responded saying Canada is not a country, quote, where politicians get to tell the police what to do in operational matters, end quote. Operational matters. They're following your orders, stupid. Oh, that makes no sense. I'm not going to tell him that if he doesn't know. Canada's official paramilitary force. Who the fuck's in charge of that?
Pier 1 says it will pursue a sale. I'm Ed Donahue.
680 News Time, 12:18. Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos is making major donations to fight climate change.
Jeff Bezos, the world's richest man, announcing on Instagram he will donate $10 billion of his own fortune to help fight climate change. The Bezos Earth Fund will fund scientists, activists, and NGOs working to preserve and protect the planet.
He's going to buy
Amazon as a company, though, has an enormous carbon footprint. It announced the plan last year to have 100% of its energy use come from solar panels and other renewable sources by 2030. Lionel Moise, ABC
Those are made in China, though.
680 News
Those are all
Time,
made in China.
12:19. A state of emergency has been declared across South Mississippi after floodwaters made into homes from overflowing rivers. From Texas to the Carolinas, residents are bailing out and heading for drier ground, but the worst can be found in Mississippi along the Pearl River. That's where we can find ABC's Alex Perez.
The Pearl River cresting at just under 37 feet, a level not seen here in nearly 40 years. This as Mississippi first responders went door to door, animal rescue groups helping save the pets left behind.
How do you live there and you're not prepared for that shit?
We're here to help you.
Shelters also taking in animals from families until they are able to return home.
The last time Pearl River overflowed was over 30 years ago. Coming up, traffic and weather together on the one. 680 News Time at 12:20.
It's the final days of the Hyundai.
So you didn't wonder why all the houses in your neighborhood were like 30 years old exactly?
All-wheel drive on the Kona, Tucson, and Santa Fe models. It's your last chance to make winter easier. Don't pay for 90 days on models like the Elantra. Plus, we're making winter more comfortable with our amazing available heated and safety features. Hurry in. The Hyundai I Love Winter sales event ends March 2nd. Conditions apply. Visit HyundaiCanada.com or your dealer for
I
details.
know I counted that. I forgot what I got on it. I think I got $2.
Alexa,
That's what I
what
wanted.
station has the best breaking news, traffic, and weather?
680 News, obviously.
Do you know someone that has a heart of pure gold?
Yeah.
Post a picture of someone special in your life on social media using the hashtag Missoula Heart of Gold until March 1st. And Missoula will donate $1 to Heart and Stroke. Pictures will be curated to form a giant mosaic at the Toronto Eden Center from February 24th to March 1st. So use a hashtag that could mean so much to so many. Missoula Heart of Gold. Get more information at MissoulaHeartofGold.com.
680 News Time, 12:21. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Handing things over to Michael Ranger.
This report brought to you by IASecurities.ca. Well, the two problems we did have out on the major highways have now cleared up. Eastbound 401, the ramp to Leslie, we had a stolen vehicle blocking the right lane. That is gone. All lanes of the ramp have now reopened. Wasn't causing any delays anyways, but everything is up to speed now. Nonetheless, on the 401 in either direction, eastbound and westbound, it's a good drive. Other problem was on the westbound 403 at Dundas Street. We had crews there cleaning up some debris in the left lane. That's gone as well. So you've got all three lanes of traffic now open going by Dundas. All your major routes moving fine. 403 is up to speed. QEW as well. If you're driving in or out of downtown right now, DVP north-south, no problems there. Gardner's a good drive in either direction. Just a reminder, there's that long-term construction on the Gardner Expressway. It is down to 2 lanes in either direction between York Street and the DVP. Lane restrictions aren't a problem right now with the light traffic, but as part of it, the westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis does remain closed. It's the only ramp closure that we've got right now. No overnight construction. Other than that long-term construction on the Gardner, all your major routes are up to speed. At IA Securities, advisors don't just build the wealth of their clients, they invest in a relationship of trust. Visit IASecurities.ca. Next traffic reports at 12:31 with your forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
A wet start on your Tuesday, so give yourself a little extra time to get to work. A daytime high of 5 degrees, quite a bit warmer than our seasonal average of -1, and cloudy conditions for much of the day, a low of -5. Wednesday, it dips down to a daytime high of just -4, partly cloudy skies, and a low of -10. Thursday, a daytime high of -6, feeling like -15 with the wind chill, a mix of sun and cloud, and a low of -10. Your high for today, 5 degrees.
Downtown Toronto right now it is 0, feeling like -6 with an overcast sky. And over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions, -1, feeling like -6. Remember, 680 News is the only radio station with a weather guarantee. Today's jackpot stands at $15,800. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, the latest on a winter weather travel advisory in effect for Toronto, which could make your morning drive a messy one. 680 News time, 12:23.
It's that time of year, auto show season. That means big events, big announcements, and even bigger deals at Nissan. Right now, get the 2019 Nissan Qashqai or Kicks and get up to 3 payments on us, up to $1,000 value. And now, get up to 4 years of regularly scheduled oil changes, also on us. It's kind of a big deal to get a deal this big. Offer ends March 2nd. Visit choosenissan.ca or your Nissan dealer. Conditions apply.
Local news, weather, and traffic as it happens.
680 News.
At 680 News, our meteorologists have been getting it right for quite a while. But when they get it wrong by more than 3 degrees,
You could win over $50,000.
enter the 680 News weather guarantee now at 680news.com.
Flash contests.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Harvey Broker Weight Loss for Men. As you've been hearing in our sports reports, NASCAR driver Ryan Newman was involved in a ghastly crash on the final lap of the Daytona 500 on Monday night, hospitalizing him with non-life-threatening injuries.
Denny Hamlin was the declared winner of the 60-second running of the Daytona 500 after a photo finish under the lights here at Daytona International Speedway, becoming only the second driver in history to win the Great American Race back-to-back. Meanwhile, not much celebrating after a spectacular crash at the finish line, resulting in driver Ryan Newman being extricated from the vehicle after about 20 minutes and being taken to a local hospital. Tony Marino, ABC News, Daytona International Speedway.
Your business report is just 60 seconds away. 680 News time, 12:25.
Graham and Ben Loudon.
Looking good, Ben. Thanks, Dad. You too. Remember how I thought I could lose weight on my own? It never works. So eventually I took your advice and called Harvey Brooker Weight Loss for Men. And with the support of the Harvey Brooker team of men, I've lost 40 pounds myself. And I've lost over 80 pounds.
Join now and February is free. Start your weight loss journey today. Call 416-222-9887. HarveyBrooker.com.
Remember, if you could do it alone, you would have done it already.
A special invitation from the Superfan.
Take a photo with Nat Bhatia and his championship ring.
Where?
At the Canadian International Auto Show, North Building. Get a chance to talk about basketball and cars like Genesis's first ever SUV, the luxurious GV80.
Wow, that SUV is going to be the new champion. When is it again?
Wednesday, February 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the North Building of the Metro Toronto Convention Center.
You can pre-order the GV80 today from the Superfan Nat Bhatia at GenesisMississauga.ca.
680 News time, 12:26. Now time for the 680 News Business Report. Here's Mike Apple.
Bay Street starts the day with the TSX at a record high. It gained 27 points on Friday up to 17,848, up by about 4% so far this year. Shares of Bombardier will be front and center after the company announced over the weekend the sale of its rail division to Alstom of France. Now, that's an $8 billion U.S. transaction that will help Bombardier pay down a lot of debts. At the same time, however, it's not necessarily a done deal, as it will require a lot of regulatory scrutiny and oversight, specifically out of the European Union. We have earnings on the agenda this week, including results from Canada's big banks. Stateside, coming up today, Spotlight on retail.
Pier 1 Imports has filed for bankruptcy. That's after getting squeezed by online rivals and crushed by debt. The Chapter 11 bankruptcy plan could help Pier 1 find a buyer. The retailer of eclectic home furnishings says it's already in talks with interested parties about the sale. Investors are taking in all the coronavirus headlines as trading gets underway today after the long holiday weekend. Apple now is warning sales this quarter will be lower than expected because of worker slowdowns and lower demand due to the coronavirus outbreak in China. Wall Street was able to eke out a partial win on Friday, sending the NASDAQ and S&P to new record highs. Facebook is preparing to face off today against the IRS in a tax dispute that dates back 10 years. At issue is Facebook's transfer of assets like trademarks and copyrights to a subsidiary in Ireland. Facebook could be on the hook for $9 billion with interest and penalties. I'm Ed Baxter, Bloomberg Radio.
The Canadian dollar starts the week at 75.5 cents U.S. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
Toronto is enriched by publicly owned services that help make this the best city in the world.
Oh,
They're
really?
librarians who help us research
according to the UN, who never said
who
that.
keep us healthy, to recycling collectors who keep blue box materials out of landfills. These public
No, they don't.
services
It's
are
all going
integral
to,
to a
they
vibrant
told
and prosperous
us a
city
year ago. It's
because they're
all
accountable
going
to
to
residents
landfill now.
and good
All
for
going
both
to
the
landfill.
economy and workers. You can support them by visiting yourcityto.ca. A
We're supposed
message
to be
from the
fucking
Canadian
stupid if we
Union
get they
of Public
told us so.
Employees.
You have more important things to do than be stuck in traffic.
Listen for up-to-date traffic reports only on 680 News.
Alpine credits. Ooh, sorry, my Morse code is a bit rusty. You want a loaf? Oh, a loan. Okay, do you own your home? Y-E-K. I'm gonna assume you said yes and not yek. Okay, approved.
Alpine credits, where homeowners, even ones who communicate through Morse code, which we could never understand, get approved. Alpine credits. Some conditions apply. Fiscal license 12616.
Paul Cook and Catherine Chate.
Weekday mornings starting at 5:30.
This is 680 News.
Taking a look now at your business travelers forecast. In Montreal, possible light rain, 3 degrees. Winnipeg, clear and minus 22, chilly there. In Los Angeles, though, clear sky and a high of 16. In Atlanta, possible light rain, 17. And Miami, humid, partly cloudy and a high of 25. Lucky them. Downtown Toronto right now, we're still under a weather advisory. It's 0, feeling like minus 6 with an overcast sky. And over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions there, minus 1, feeling more like minus 6. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. You can listen 3, 4, 5 times a day and always be in the know. And how to hear us on your smart speaker, phone, or HD radio, go to 680news.com. 680 News time, 12:30.
Number 1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Good morning. This is Tuesday, February 18th. I'm Jordan Coulter. And I'm Madison Fitzpatrick. Here's what's making news this hour. A blast of winter weather could affect the drive into work and school. Environment Canada issuing travel advisories for Toronto and much of southern Ontario. 2 women are in hospital this hour after a car crash in the Lakeshore area.
The Trudeau government will be under fire as the House of Commons resumes amid ongoing anti-pipeline protests and rail blockades. The Prime Minister vows to find a quick and peaceful solution.
I cannot ask my friends and family to follow me into another campaign.
After more than 4 years in power, Newfoundland and Labrador Premier Dwight Ball is calling it quits.
Panthers creep closer to the Maple Leafs' third-place spot, and the full Blue Jays squad reports for spring training in Dunedin.
Sports at 45. Bombardier confirms it's got a deal to sell its rail division to Alstom of France. Apple warns that the coronavirus is going to affect its current quarterly profit outlook. Business at 56.
680 News time, 12:31. Time for traffic and weather. Together on the ones, handing things over to Michael Ranger.
This report brought to you by Area Rug Shop. We've still got a very quiet drive. We had a couple of issues out on major routes, but both have cleared up. Eastbound to 401 ramp to Leslie. There was a stalled vehicle there blocking the right lane. That's now gone. 401 is problem-free in both directions, eastbound and westbound.
404 DVP north-south, no problems there. Gardner's up to speed in both directions. Just a reminder to drivers, westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis remains closed as part of the long-term construction going on the Gardner Expressway. QEW's up to speed, 403, 410, both moving well. We did have an issue on the west 403 at Dundas. Crews were on scene there cleaning up some debris in the left lane. That has cleared as well. All 3 lanes of the highway open through that stretch. 427 northbound and southbound, problem-free drive there. And on the Highway 400, there are no issues in either direction. Again, all your major routes are up to speed. Find the rug you'll fall in love with at Area Rug Shop at the showrooms in Vaughan, Richmond Hill, Newmarket, and Barrie, all February long. Buy 1 rug, get the second at 50% off. Visit arearugshop.ca. Next traffic reports at 12:41 with the forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
A daytime high of 5 degrees on your Tuesday, but expect a wet morning commute. So maybe give yourself a little extra time to get to work today. A low of -5. Your high for today, 5 degrees.
Downtown Toronto right now, it is 0, feeling like -6 with an overcast sky, and over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions there, -1, feeling like -7. 6:80 news time, 12:33. Pack your patience as you hit the road after the Family Day long weekend. A blast of winter weather is expected after midnight, and it could make for a slow drive. 6 Cities' Karen Seelan is on the weather watch. Some steady snowfall overnight, prompting Environment Canada to issue travel advisories for Toronto and a good chunk of southern Ontario. By early morning, the National Weather Agency expects between 4 to 8 centimeters of fresh snow to have fallen. Weather specialist Malia Sheikh tells us what the biggest problem for drivers will be.
Due to that accumulating snow and low visibility, the roads will be a little tough to navigate through, especially in the first half of the morning.
A brief period of freezing rain is also possible, but there's good news too. Temperatures will climb throughout the morning, with that snow changing to rain or drizzle and ending soon after. I'm Karen Seelan. 6:80 news time, 12:33. 2 women are in hospital with serious and potentially life-threatening injuries after a 4-vehicle collision near Kipling and Lakeshore Boulevard. Toronto police say one of the victims was a pedestrian, the other the driver. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. You're listening to All News Radio. The Prime Minister says the federal government continues to work to end anti-pipeline blockades that have shut down rail service. Justin Trudeau wasn't saying much else as he left the emergency meeting of cabinet ministers in Ottawa. The meeting is in the works, involving the federal and BC ministries responsible for Indigenous relations and First Nations leader opposed to the Coastal GasLink pipeline project. Trudeau says he continues to focus on resolving the situation quickly and peacefully. Hereditary chiefs are protesting a natural gas pipeline that crosses Wet'suwet'en territory in northern BC. Sympathy blockades of rail lines across the country have shut down train traffic in eastern Canada for about 2 weeks. Meantime, MPs are back in the House of Commons today, and the Trudeau government is expected to take heat from all sides as it continues to look for solutions to countrywide rail blockades and protests. The demonstrations have shut down large amounts of passenger and freight traffic in opposition to the natural gas pipeline that crosses Wet'suwet'en First Nation in British Columbia. 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney joins us with more.
This is a political firestorm for the Trudeau government, which is still searching for solutions. Conservatives want a police crackdown, while the NDP is looking for balance and requesting an emergency debate. Political scientist Dwayne Brad tells me the economic pressure is growing as well, with tens of millions of dollars lost every day.
Not just via rail being disrupted, but manufactured goods, agricultural
Indian
goods,
Capital Trust
oil and
accounts
gas
pay up
goods.
on the
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau
said
bailing
so.
on a planned trip to Barbados to hold an emergency meeting with key cabinet ministers yesterday, vowing to solve this quickly and peacefully.
I understand how worrisome this is for so many Canadians.
So far, talks have not ended the standoffs. However, federal and BC ministers are seeking a meeting with the First Nations affected by this pipeline. Other Indigenous leaders are holding a news conference later today in Ottawa. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
680 news time, 12:36. After more than 4 years of leading the province, Newfoundland and Labrador, Premier Dwight Ball announcing on Monday he's resigning. 680's Tim Parent has more.
I'm announcing that my time in politics is coming to an end.
A surprise announcement from Dwight Ball coming via video message. The Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador adding he won't be leaving the post immediately.
I will continue to work every day as your Premier until a new leader is chosen.
Elected in 2015, Ball's Liberal Party was reduced to a minority government in the provincial election last year. meaning another election could happen at any time. Wall says he couldn't ask his friends and family to follow him into another campaign, and that his party and his province needs someone else at the helm. I'm Tim Parent.
680 News Time, 12:36. About 255 Canadians on a cruise ship off Yokohama should be on a government-chartered plane this week bound for Canada. So far, none showed symptoms of COVID-19. The 15 Canadians confirmed with the virus will stay behind and receive medical treatment in Japan. Meantime, the Public Health Agency of Canada says it will review its protocols for healthcare workers. It comes after nurses' unions denounced the national guidelines set out for dealing with the new virus. Canada has 8 confirmed cases. Meanwhile, the Public Health Agency of Canada says it will review its protocols for healthcare workers after nurses' unions denounced the national guidelines set out for dealing with the novel coronavirus earlier this month. 680's Tim Chapman has more.
The Canadian Federation of Nurses Unions wrote to Health Minister Patty Hadju last week to tell her the guidelines of how healthcare workers should deal with and protect themselves against coronavirus or COVID-19 are simply unacceptable. They assume the virus cannot spread easily through the air, only through larger droplets from coughing or sneezing. Though Canada's current federal guidelines are in line with the World Health Organization recommendations, both the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States and its European counterpart call for added precautions to protect against the possibility the disease is airborne. Ontario has already called for its workers to wear respirators when dealing with potential cases of COVID-19 rather than surgical masks as suggested by the federal agency. So far, only 8 cases of the coronavirus have been confirmed in Canada. The public health authorities agree they must be prepared for that to change. I'm Tim Chapman.
Meantime, mainland China is reporting 1,886 new virus cases and 98 more deaths, for a total of 18,068. This follows a report that 80% of cases have been mild, prompting guarded optimism from health officials. A total of 72,436 cases have been reported in mainland China as of Tuesday local time. A recent spike was due to a broader definition in the hardest hit region based on doctors' diagnoses before laboratory tests were completed. Still to come on 680 News, we'll have traffic and weather together on the ones, but first we'll take a look at the price at the pumps. 680 News Time, 12:39.
Russell and Nazarene are owners and operators of the Mary Browns of Dixie, Eglinton, and Mississauga. As franchisees, they get to own a business with a proven track record of success. Plus, they have the support of an entire team behind them. Come meet entrepreneurs like Russell and Nazarene at the Franchise Canada Show, February 22nd and 23rd at the Intercare Center. And see for yourself how franchising can help you be your own boss. To learn more, visit franchisecanada.show. Brought to you by Mary Brown's Chicken and the Canadian Franchise Association.
Alexa, what station has the best breaking news, traffic, and weather?
680 News, obviously.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Enpro says the price of gas did not change at midnight, holding it just under $1.13 a liter at most GTA stations. Traffic and weather together next. 680 News Time, 12:40.
Hi, I'm Ivanka Osmak from Sportsnet. With a job that starts late, a 2-year-old that starts early, and a new baby on the way, getting a great night's sleep was a challenge, to say the least. I love my sleep and I needed help, so I reached out to the sleep experts at Sleep Country. They were awesome. The first thing they did was fit me with the right pillow for my unique sleeping style. I thought all pillows were the same, but after I tested a few, they matched me with the BioSoy pillow, and I've never looked back. It features high-density memory foam that shapes to my head and neck to help take a load off my tired back. And you don't need to be pregnant to appreciate the all-natural hypoallergenic cover. Better pillow, better sleep, better me. Plus, it gets better. Right now, buy one BioSoy pillow at Sleep Country and get a second BioSoy pillow free. Restrictions apply. See store for details. Sleep Country, all for sleep.
680 News Time, 12:41. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Michael Ranger.
This report brought to you by Land Rover. Very quiet drive. If you're out on the major routes right now, not much to report. We had a couple of issues, and they've both since cleared up. 401, no problems at all in either direction, east and west. It's a good drive all the way across the GTA. 400 north-south, no issues there. 404 DVP, northbound, southbound, same story. It's all up to speed. Gardner's moving well in both directions. Long-term construction on the Gardner between York Street and the DVP. It's down to 2 lanes. The lane restrictions aren't a problem right now with the light traffic, but the westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis remains closed as part of that construction. That's the only ramp closure we're looking at right now. No overnight construction. QEW up to speed. 403, 410, both moving well. 427 north-south. There are no problems there. Your first 2 lease payments are waived during the Land Rover Own the Adventure sales event. Available on all models. Visit your local Land Rover authorized retailer today for details. Next traffic reports at 12:51 with your forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
A daytime high of +5 on your Tuesday when the seasonal average is -1. So quite a bit warmer than that. Make sure you enjoy that part. However, we are expecting a wet start to your day. So give yourself a little extra time on those roads. A low of -5. Wednesday, it cools down, a daytime high of -4, feeling like -10 with the wind chill and partly cloudy conditions, a low of -10. Your high for today, 5 degrees.
Right now, downtown Toronto, it's sitting at 0, feeling more like -7 under an overcast sky. And over at Pearson Airport, currently overcast, -1, feeling more like -7. Still to come on 680 News, a horrific crash at the Daytona 500 Monday night has sent race car driver Ryan Newman to hospital in serious condition. 680 News time, 12:43.
As the preferred choice of Canadian optometrists for vision correction procedures, TLC Laser Eye Centers puts your life into sharper focus. With over 20 years of experience, our safe, high-quality procedures ensure a consistent track record of patient satisfaction. At TLC, we believe everyone deserves freedom from glasses and contacts. Our flexible and affordable financing options are built to fit your budget, so you aren't held back by cost. Book a free, no-obligation consultation today at tlclasik.ca.
Everyone has that buddy who knows everything, even when he doesn't. Yours, call him Tyrone, is in your new Honda CR-V, and you tuned him out because you're thinking, if you know everything, why did I lease this redesigned 2020 Honda CR-V LX from just $83 weekly at 3.99% and 0 down, including the $500 Honda bonus at the Honda Drive Smart event? And why do I know that Honda has been driven to reduce emissions since 1948? And why am I driving you to get groceries, Tyrone? Then for some reason you think includes freight and fees for 60 months, taxes extra, OAC, see HondaOntario.com, which is a strangely legal thought.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
It's 0 right now. Good morning from the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. I'm Jordan Coulter. Here are the top stories this hour. Keep an eye on your drive this morning. A weather travel advisory is in effect as snow is in the forecast for the morning commute. A 4-vehicle collision near Kipling and Lakeshore Boulevard has sent 2 women to hospital in serious condition. One of them, a pedestrian. And coming up after sports, scientists in the U.S. say that prebiotic foods may slow the growth of cancer cells. 680 News Time, 12:45. Now 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Andy McNamara.
Thank you very much. The Maple Leafs are off Monday, getting ready for the Penguins Tuesday in the first of a home and home. Around the NHL, Flames clip the Ducks 6-4. Islanders get bit by the Coyotes 2-1. Capitals fell 3-2 in Vegas. This is important. Panthers beat San Jose 5-3 and are now just 2 points behind Toronto for third. The LA Kings have traded forward Tyler Toffoli to the Vancouver Canucks for Tim Schaller, a second-round pick and a prospect. Full Blue Jays squad reported to spring training on Monday. It was a day of reflection for the organization after the passing Saturday of all-time great Jays shortstop Tony Fernandez. Longtime Toronto closer Tom Henke was on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and spoke about his former teammate.
He will truly be missed. Been rough couple days. I miss him a lot. Always had a smile. When we might not see each other for 10 years, and you see each other, and it just automatically goes back to everything we went through.
Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
680 News Time, 12:46.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well,
Trying to find a needle in a haystack? Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.ca/Canada. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. It's the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.ca/Canada. That's ziprecruiter.ca/CANADA. ziprecruiter.ca/Canada.
Local news, weather, and traffic as it happens.
680 News. NASCAR driver Ryan Newman is said to be in serious condition after sustaining non-life-threatening injuries after a horrific crash at the Daytona 500 on Monday. ABC's Tony Marino was there.
Ryan Newman's race car slammed into the wall here at Daytona International Speedway before being hit by another race car, sending it about 200 yards down the speedway on its side before it came to a standstill just outside of pit row. The track's emergency team took about 20 minutes to extricate Newman from the mangled metal. Tony Marino, ABC News, Daytona Beach, Florida.
You're listening to 680 News at
He's not dead. I don't see how that's
12:47.
fucking news.
It turns out cancer growth could
That's
be slowed
racist.
with
That's
prebiotic
racist.
foods such as asparagus and onion. Prebiotics are a group of compounds that help boost the variety of gut bacteria and are also found in garlic, leeks, and bananas. Scientists in the U.S. have fed mice water infused with prebiotics and studied how the rodents fought melanoma skin cancer, one of the aggressive forms of the disease. Prebiotics populated in the gut, which bolstered the immune system. With more immune cells attacking cancer, the disease progression was curbed. 680 News Time, 12:48. A new drug might be able to banish peanut allergies within weeks of being administered.
What it is,
In a
powdered
trial, people who had been in danger of life-threatening reactions to traces of peanuts could eat a whole one just 2 weeks after an injection of the drug.
Oh, this is
Scientists who developed the drug predict
The other
some
one is ground up
patients may
peanuts.
need only a single treatment to end the allergy altogether, while others may need a top-up jab every few months to keep it at bay. It targets a part of the immune system involved in severe allergic responses. Coming up, we will
That's
have
gonna lead to
traffic
something
and
bad
weather
someday.
together on the ones. Before that, though, the Nevada caucuses are now less than a week away. Democratic presidential candidates are fixated on a rival who isn't even contesting the state. Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Amy Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, and Pete Buttigieg are all going after billionaire Mike Bloomberg and making it clear they are eager to take him on in a debate. The attacks are a sign of how seriously the field is starting to take Bloomberg as he makes gains in the race. Coming up, we'll have traffic and weather together on the one. 680 News Time, 12:50.
Hi, I'm Kristen from Whitby, and I bought my new Escape online at AaronwoodFord.com.
People from everywhere are buying their new Fords online at AaronwoodFord.com. It's so easy to save time and money with just a click on this amazing website. Just click and save.
People from everywhere are buying online at Aaronwood Ford. They're saving money, saving time.
And remember, we'll buy your car
So
even if you
funny,
don't
don't
buy
they have?
ours.
Can I just do that? Can I just tell them whoever's
There
name
are
is on the
lots of
credit
ways
card
to
to
treat
do
your
that?
cold symptoms. You can carry around a spoon and syrup, or try
Your card is not my name.
How about those lozenges? Why not drop all that for a different way? Cold drops. Just one drop with a naturally sourced ingredient for temporary symptom relief of cough, sore throat, and nasal congestion.
Relief with just one drop. Cold drops.
For a retailer near you, visit ColdDrops.com. This product may not be right for you. Always read and follow the label.
680 680 News Time, 12:51. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Handing things over to Michael Ranger.
This report brought to you by 407 ETR. Well, not much to talk about if you're out on the roads right now. That's some good news if you are. There's a problem-free drive pretty much on all the major routes right now. Not even seeing any significant problems on city streets. 401's in great shape, both directions, all the way across the GTA. 404 DVP north-south, no problems there. Everything's moving fine. Same thing with the Gardner. It's up to speed in both directions. We just have that long-term construction on the Gardner. As part of it, the westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis is closed. And it will be for some time. QEW up to speed in both directions. 403, 410, both moving well. 427 north-south, no problems there. Same thing with Highway 400. It is moving well in either direction. No issues northbound or southbound. All of your major routes are up to speed right now. This year, 407 ETR is adding 30 kilometers of new lanes to keep up with increasing traffic and keep your commutes fast, safe, and reliable. Visit 407etr.com. Next traffic report is at 101 with the forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
A mild Tuesday is in store, a daytime high of 5 degrees with a mix of rain and snow in the early morning, which may impact your commute to work. A low of -5 today. Wednesday, a daytime high of -4, feeling like -10 with the wind chill, partly cloudy skies, and a low of -10. Thursday, that cold air sticks around, a daytime high of -6, feeling like -15 though, a mix of sun and cloud, and a low of -10. Your high for today, 5 degrees.
Right now, downtown Toronto, we are sitting at 0, although it feels more like -7 under an overcast sky. And over at Pearson Airport, overcast -1, feeling more like -7. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll have the latest on the wintry weather heading our way for your Tuesday morning commute. 680 News Time, 12:53.
This extended forecast is brought to you by Dynamic Funds. We all need advice from time to time. Why should investing be any different? Speak to a financial advisor today and visit dynamic.ca/advice to learn more.
It's your February Casino-Rama Resort concert announcement. Music legend Tony Bennett returns on May 1st. Country superstar Martina McBride on May 2nd. Canadian country music star Tim Hicks May 23rd. Entertainment icon Marie Osmond returns with a symphony June 6th. Actor-comedian Rodney Carrington on June 13th. And don't miss Russell Peters live on June 19th and 20th. Tickets are on sale now through Ticketmaster. For more information, visit casinorama.com.
Local news, weather, and traffic as it happens.
680 News. Police are investigating a vandalism spree that left the famous Plymouth Rock covered in graffiti. Town officials say workers had removed the red spray paint covering the rock in Plymouth, Massachusetts by up late Monday morning. Police say vandals also targeted a seashell-shaped sign celebrating the upcoming 400th anniversary of the 1620 Mayflower landing, the Pilgrim Maiden statue, and the National Monument to the forefathers. It was not immediately clear if this graffiti incident had any connection to the anniversary celebration. No,
you lost faith with us
as of Monday. You're listening to 680 News. Ottawa is seeking more time to amend the assisted dying law. Justice Minister David Lametti has filed a motion requesting a 4-month extension on the court ruling. The federal government is acknowledging it won't be able to meet a court-imposed March 11th deadline to drop a provision that allows only those already near death to qualify for medical help to end their lives. The Trudeau government declined to appeal, but has yet to introduce the necessary amendments to the law. Coming up in 60 seconds, we will have your weekday business report. 680 News Time, 12:55.
Introducing Montfair by Fremont, a new mid-rise condominium residence coming soon to Brampton. Ideally located between verdant parkland and a spectacular new urban park. Only minutes to the GO station in charming Mount Pleasant Village. Enjoy a convenient, connected lifestyle in a unique community. 1 and 2 bedroom suites starting from the mid-300s. Register at Fremont.com.
Every winter morning, Eric drives to the office in darkness, works all day, and then leaves in darkness. But there's a light ahead at Nissan, a high beam of hope at the Winter Warrior sales event. Eric can lease a new 2020 Nissan Murano from the equivalent of $199 bi-weekly and get up to 4 years of regularly scheduled oil changes on us. Visit choosenissan.ca or your Nissan dealer. $430 monthly at 2.9% for 60 months. Conditions apply.
680 News Time, 12:56. And now the 680 News Business Report. Here's Mike Apple.
The transformation of Canada's Bombardier continues as the aerospace company is shrinking once again, announcing the sale of its biggest division, its rail operations. The buyer is Alstom of France. The price tag, $8.2 billion. This continues Bombardier's efforts to pay down a massive debt load. Last week, it sold the minority stake that it had in the A220 jet project, and previously had unloaded the Q400 turboprop and Canadair regional jet operations. Bombardier, once this deal for its rail operations is closed, will remain as a business jet developer. So Bombardier B shares will be front and center on Bay Street today as the TSX gets back to work after a 4-day weekend. The TSX on Friday was at a record high after a gain of 27 points. We have the tech sector front and center today with a profit warning from the world's biggest technology company. Details from Bloomberg News.
Apple is warning it won't meet its revenue target for this quarter, and it's blaming work slowdowns and lower demand because of the coronavirus. Pier 1 Imports is seeking bankruptcy protection. The retailer hopes it will facilitate a sale. It's in talks with multiple buyers. Pier 1 reiterating plans to lay off staff and close hundreds of stores. Did you eat out less over the holidays? Well, Conagra is cutting its sales forecast. The packaged food maker citing a holiday slowdown at restaurants along with retail weakness in January. And we saw a big drop in sales of clothes in January, the biggest one-month drop according to the Commerce Department since 2009. That could spell trouble for the world's biggest retailer. Walmart also sells more apparel than any other retailer in the U.S. I'm Ed Baxter, Bloomberg Radio.
Canadian dollar starts the day at 75.5 cents U.S. at the Business Center.
I don't hear nothing about people wearing Walmart clothes because apparently you all fucking shop there.
It's the 2020 Canadian International Auto Show, presented by the Toronto Star and Wheels.ca. The biggest, the best. These are transformative times.
Auto Exotica, presented by Castrol. Dream big among the world's finest automobiles. Rare and beautiful. See the world's largest pearl.
Download the Only Ascend Safe Driving app to learn how you can earn cash back for driving safely at onlya.ca.
Talking about cash, enter for a chance to win a $2,500 gift card from CAA.
Get behind the wheel of more than 18 electric cars on the market today. Don't miss EV Test Drive. And light up the night every night with SiriusXM and save $6 on admission after 6 p.m.
Take Go to the Auto Show, just steps away from Union Station.
The 2020 Auto Show, presented by the Toronto Star and Wheels.ca. Transformative times. Metro Toronto Convention Center, on now until February 23rd. You have more important things to do than be stuck in traffic.
Listen for up-to-date traffic reports, only on 680 News.
Now your regional weather conditions. In Aurora, we're seeing some flurries. It's -3 in Caledon. Flurries -3 as well in Burlington. Light snow -1, and over in Kitchener, flurries -3. In Mississauga, light snow -2, and in Pickering, it's overcast -2. Richmond Hill, flurries -2. Right now, downtown Toronto, it's sitting at 0, feeling more like -7 under an overcast sky. The News Watch never stops. 680 News, CFTR AM, Toronto. 680 News Time, 1 o'clock.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Good morning. This is Tuesday, February the 18th. I'm Madison Fitzpatrick.
And I'm Jordan Coulter. Here's what's making news this hour.
Pack your patience as you hit the road after the family day long weekend. A blast of winter weather expected overnight, and it could make for a slow drive.
Anti-pipeline rail blockades will dominate discussions as the House of Commons resumes amid the growing protests. The Prime Minister is still looking for solutions, but promising a peaceful strategy.
Canada's Public Health Agency is set to review protocols for healthcare workers in the wake of the coronavirus. All four of Ontario's teachers' unions will be staging a one-day walkout this Friday. Those details coming up.
Maple Leafs try to shake off Sunday's loss to get ready for the Penguins, and spring training in full swing for the Blue Jays. Sports at 15.
Bay Street starts the week with the TSX at a record. Bombardier gets that deal to sell its rail division to Alstom. And Walmart set to report earnings. Business at 26.
680 News Time 101. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Good morning, Michael Ranger.
Good morning, Madison. We've got a very quiet drive right now. Not much to report if you're out on the major routes. Supposed to have some snow starting this morning. Looking at some of the cameras going up along the 403 in the Mississauga area, seeing their snowfall there. I'm not seeing anything yet looking out the window of our building at downtown Toronto. But if you are out in that area, Mississauga 403, that's something you're going to have to deal with. Reminder, you'll want to give yourself some extra time this morning because of that snowfall. But again, not seeing much of it in the city right now. 401's in great shape in both directions, all the way across the GTA. 404 BVP northbound, southbound, no problems there. It's moving well. Gardner QEW is up to speed in either direction. So a reminder to drivers, the long-term construction on the Gardner between York Street and the DVP means that the westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis remains closed. 403, 410, both moving well. 427, same thing. Highway 400 north-south. It is up to speed at this time. Your next traffic report is at 1:11 with the forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
A daytime high of +5 today, quite a bit warmer than our seasonal average of just -1. But we are expecting a wet start to the day, so maybe give yourself a little extra time on those roads. And then cloudy conditions for much of the day, a low of -5. Your high for today, 5 degrees.
Right now, downtown Toronto, overcast skies sitting at 0 degrees, although it feels more like -7. And taking a look now at Pearson Airport, overcast -1, feeling more like -7. 680 News Time 103. Steady snowfall overnight, prompting Environment Canada to issue travel advisories for the GTA. 680's Karen Seolin has more on what could become a messy drive. Environment Canada warning you to pack your patience as you hit the road after the family day-long weekend. A blast of winter weather could affect the drive into work and school. Weather specialist Malia Sheikh says the bulk of the snow will fall overnight, and we could see up to 8 centimeters on the ground by the morning commute.
So those roads will be a little bit tricky. Poor winter driving conditions are expected because of accumulating snow and low visibility on the roads, so drive carefully.
According to the National Weather Agency, freezing rain could also be a problem. But at least it'll be warm. Temperatures will hit above the freezing mark, turning snow to rain, which should end by late morning. I'm Karen Seolin. 680 News Time 103. Expect some fiery exchanges and lots of questions as MPs return to the House of Commons today after a break week that saw Indigenous and anti-pipeline protests shut down vital rare corridors across the country. The demonstrations are in opposition to a natural gas pipeline that crosses Wet'suwet'en First Nation territory in northern British Columbia. 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney has more.
Political and economic pressure increase. The Prime Minister is promising a peaceful solution to end the blockades. After facing criticisms for being out of country while the protests grew, Justin Trudeau canceled an official visit to Barbados to hold an emergency meeting of his incident response group.
Discussions with ministers. I make some phone calls to Indigenous leadership as well as to a number of premiers.
But the protests continue. Conservatives are calling for a police crackdown while the NDP wants an emergency debate in the House of Commons. Leader Jagmeet Singh wants to see a balanced plan from the feds.
Address the injustice that the First People of this land have faced, and also make sure that working people are able to earn a good living.
Ministers are trying to organize a meeting with the First Nations affected by the pipeline, while other Indigenous leaders will be holding a news conference in Ottawa later this morning. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
680 News Time 105. Dwight Fall is stepping down as Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador. He made the announcement in a pre-recorded video message today. He says he'll stay on in the role until the Liberal Party chooses a successor, and he will continue to represent his riding until the next election.
After 3 successful election campaigns that captured both a majority and minority government, I cannot ask my friends and family to follow me into another campaign.
Ball says he's making way for new leadership, both in his party and in his province. 6 City News Time 105. The Canadian Federation of Nurses are calling the coronavirus protocols for healthcare workers and patients unacceptable. 6 City's Tim Chapman says the Public Health Agency of Canada is listening.
The agency says feedback from the nurses' unions and other associations will be considered by a National Advisory Committee on Infection Prevention and Control as it looks to update the national guidelines. The change coming following a letter sent by nurses' unions to Health Minister Patty Hajdu, which took issue with the assumption that COVID-19 could not spread easily through the air, only through larger droplets from coughing or sneezing. In a statement Monday, the Federal Public Health Agency says the guidelines were approved by a special advisory committee. Provinces can also set up their own standards and protocols to protect workers from possible exposure to the virus. Ontario has already made the decision for workers to wear respirators while dealing with potential COVID-19 cases, while recommendations from the federal agency only include the use of surgical masks. I'm Tim Chapman.
Meanwhile, hundreds of Americans evacuated from the Diamond Princess cruise ship in Japan because of coronavirus are now back on U.S. soil. However, some of the evacuees now have the illness.
The two Boeing 747s taking the evacuated Americans from the Diamond Princess in Japan to quarantine locations in California, Texas, and Nebraska. In Omaha, Dr. Chris Credeville says those evacuees who have tested positive for coronavirus are being treated.
13 individuals arrived on the two planes. They were transported here to the medical center where they're being assessed and cared for.
At the three locations, those cruise ship passengers who don't show symptoms will remain in quarantine for 14 days. Alex Stone, ABC News.
6 City News Time 107. This Friday, all four of Ontario's teachers' unions will be staging a one-day walkout across the province. That's if they don't reach a deal with the government before then. Minister of Education Stephen Lecce says taking the students out of the classroom isn't the answer.
It's about protecting the status quo for them. It's about maintaining the benefits and wages and entitlements they want, and that may be their job. But I think we need the government to stand strong to make the case that students got to come first in this negotiation, and more importantly, they ought to be in class while we negotiate.
Negotiations between the unions and the Conservative government have stalled over key issues such as increased class sizes, mandatory e-learning, and fundings for special education. 680 News Time 108. Heads up drivers who use Front and Jarvis on the regular, there will be nightly work done at that intersection to replace a water main. Today until Friday the 21st, the intersection will be reduced to one lane in all directions from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Once again, crews will be at work from the 24th to the 28th. The intersection will reopen for traffic during the day. 6 City News Time 108. Ozzy Osbourne is hitting the road, but not for music.
Ozzy Osbourne has officially canceled his No More Tours 2 tour after recently revealing that he's battling Parkinson's. In a statement, Osbourne says he'll be headed to Switzerland in April for treatment, which will take 6 to 8 weeks. But first, he'll wrap up promotional obligations for his upcoming album, Ordinary Man, which is out Friday. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
Coming up, traffic and weather together on the one. 6 City News Time 109.
This is
680 News.
A special invitation from the Superfan.
Take a photo with Nat Bhatia and his championship ring.
Where?
At the Canadian International Auto Show, North Building. Get a chance to talk about basketball and cars like Genesis's first ever SUV, the luxurious GV80.
Wow, that SUV is going to be the new champion. When is it again?
Wednesday, February 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the North Building of the Metro Toronto Convention Center.
You can pre-order the GV8 today from the Superfan Nat Bhatia at genesismississauga.ca.
Now, the 6 City News gas price update. As per predicted, the price didn't budge at midnight. It's holding at just under $1.13 a liter at most GTA stations. Your traffic and weather coming up next. 6 City News Time 110.
Will be chilly winds and overcast skies. Ugh, that sounds fun. Take a break from dreary and get into the warmth of Ripley's Aquarium of Canada. You'll enjoy more colors, shapes, and sizes under one roof than you can possibly imagine. From Rainbow Reef to Canadian waters and Dangerous Lagoon, there's a world just waiting for you to explore. So when the weather tempts you to stay inside, explore an underwater world in the heart of downtown Toronto. Tickets at Ripley'sAquariumofCanada.com.
Scotiabank Focus on Small Business.
No matter what type of small business you run or plan to run, don't miss the special small business features each weekend now through February on 680 News. Get the keys to success in 2020 with topics covering everything from the importance of making a business plan to branding, technology, and business banking.
For a limited time, open the right size account for business and a business credit solution, and you can get $100. Certain conditions apply. Talk to a Scotiabank advisor today.
680 News Time, 111. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones with an eye on your drive. Here's Michael Ranger.
We've got a new problem now affecting the northbound Don Valley Parkway. No access onto the highway from Queen Street. A collision there on the ramp has completely blocked that ramp. So once again, if you're traveling on Queen, you cannot access the northbound DVP. You'll have to find another way on. You can head up to Dundas. There's a ramp there to the northbound Don Valley Parkway. That's the only problem we've got right now. Only other ramp closure we're looking at is because of long-term construction on the Gardner, westbound Gardner ramp to Jarvis is closed. Other than that, you're driving around to downtown on the DVP or the Gardner is a smooth one right now. No delays on either road. 401 is in good shape all the way across the city, eastbound and westbound. It's moving fine. 404, 400, northbound, southbound. It's all up to speed there. QEW, 403, 410 are all moving well. Same thing with the 427. All your major routes are up to speed. Once again, no access to northbound DVP right now from Queen Street. We've got a collision that is blocking that ramp. Other than that, all your major routes moving well. Your next traffic report is at 1:21 with the forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
Wet start to your Tuesday, so those roads will be a little bit slippery. Maybe give yourself a little extra time to get to work today. A daytime high of 5 degrees, quite a bit warmer than our seasonal average of just -1, a low of -5. Wednesday, it does cool down quite a bit. A daytime high of -4, feeling like -10 with the wind chill and partly cloudy conditions, a low of -10. Your high for today, 5 degrees.
Downtown Toronto right now, it is 0, feeling like -7 with an overcast sky. And over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions there, -1, feeling like -7. Taylor Swift's father recently fought off a burglar who broke into his $4 million Florida penthouse. The Tampa Bay Times reports that Scott Swift returned to his home in the Ivany Place Towers on January 17th, just moments after the 30-year-old Terrence Hoover used an emergency stairwell to climb 13 floors to enter it. The paper says the men fought before Hoover ran. Hoover has a lengthy arrest record that includes burglary, aggravated assault, and kidnapping. Swift picked Hoover out of a photo lineup, and police say Hoover called to them to report the altercation. Hoover was found last week and charged with burglary. Still to come on 680 News, Tesla is in hot water with environmental groups overseas. 680 News time, 1:13.
Get more with online grocery delivery from Real Canadian Superstore. Shop your favorite groceries online, at home, or from your phone, and get them delivered straight to your door in as little as 1 hour. That's right, 1 hour. But that's not all. You can get $20 off your first 2 orders when you try